In this world, there's two kinds of people, my friend. Those with loaded guns and those who dig. Broadcasting from a Montana wilderness fortress at the headwaters of the Missouri, this is Matt Christiansen Live.
So the Trump administration wonders why people are saying that they are trying to form a dictatorship. Well, look at the landscape. Arresting Don Lemon. Yes! Who covered a protest in Minneapolis. Insane, dictator-like. This is the playbook that dictators use to destroy democracies. Wow. The First Amendment is the First Amendment for a reason. It is considered the preferred amendment. Wow. Without a free press, you don't have a democracy. Donald Trump and company doesn't want a free press.
Fucking own, bitch!
A journalist, which Don Lemon has been for 30 years, wow, would walk into a church. Watch that video. He is covering the protest. He is covering it. That's what journalists do.
I doubt it.
You are fake news.
It's a made-up tape. It's a total fabrication.
Very fake news.
We're the United States of America.
He touched young people.
Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein?
Bingo.
Who gives a crap? I don't care.
All right, America, go to the YouTube right now.
Duct tape all over the place. It's a disgrace.
All right, go.
In 5, 4, 3.
I can't do it. We'll do it live.
Fuck it, we'll do it live.
Hello and welcome to the show. This is Matt Christiansen Live, a proud duct tape production for Sunday, February 1st, 2026. Thank you for tuning in. Sorry for the late start there. I'm going to do the Alec Baldwin. I know someone is at fault, and I can't say who that is, but I know it's not me. So let's blame Matt Palumbo, sitting shotgun in his usual Sunday role. Welcome back.
We had to stop. I had to stop breathing before you go live.
Yes, Matt Palumbo had to hold. He's training himself to hold his breath so that he is no longer a nuisance to the show. Find his X account, Matt Palumbo's X account, in his latest book on Alex Soros, The Air, linked in the description. In the news for discussion tonight, breaking just a few hours ago, the federal agents who shot Alex Pretti now identified. And shockingly, they are not, in fact, white supremacists. By the sound of it, ICE should be hunting them. Maybe they'll get deported. A shocking twist in the Alex Pretti shooting.
Well, I just like that one. I mean, I know it's pronounced Jesus, but I'm calling him Jesus. Mm-hmm. It proves that Jesus is both on our side and also pulling the trigger, which I think is fantastic.
I mean, it's indisputable based on the record so far.
Really?
Don Lemon arrested in L.A. for his St. Paul, Minnesota church invasion 2 weeks ago. We'll look at the charges and the reaction. At the bottom of the hour, our friend Sean Fitzgerald will join to discuss the emerging left-wing theory that Alex Pretti was actually assassinated by ICE agents. It was a premeditated murder on the basis of taillight vengeance. They had been hunting him to get their revenge for the taillight that he had kicked out weeks prior, and they finally put him to death as he deserved. We'll talk about homeless people dying in New York City because Zoran Mamdani refuses to sweep the camps anymore, and some other things as well. Later in the show, yes, the truck dump of Epstein files finally hit 3 million plus pages. Take a look at some of what's inside. I should have assigned you to read all 3 million pages. But.
And the thing is, I actually would have. There's no like big bombshells. Really, it's just interesting to see. I don't know, the kind of stuff he was reading and sharing and all that. And he was like sharing articles from the right stuff about race and IQ and stuff. And among other
you didn't get to the Bill Gates part if you didn't think it was that interesting, I guess.
I did not actually. What
did
I
you didn't
miss?
See that? Okay.
No.
We'll talk about it later.
All right, very cool.
Kathy Griffin is organizing a deranged mob to come to your house and find out if you support Trump or not. Plus, of course, we'll talk hoax hate, including some more updates in the case of Bananas and Rice Girl. We have some more information I didn't have previously. Before we get into it, got to say hello to our friendly listener-owned business for the night. That's our friends at Western Razor Company. Yeah, there we go. Sorry, I thought I pulled the wrong promo. But we know we're being lied to on a daily basis by our government, by corporate media, and by razor companies too. Think about it. Their ads used to appeal to your masculinity. Then they took advantage of your sensitivity with aloe strips. They kept adding blades, thinking you wouldn't notice how clogged they get. And the more they changed, the more plastic and disposable they became. The honest truth is those other razor brands are lying to your face, and our friends at Western Razor aren't going to take it anymore. That's why their safety razors are 100% metal, made in the USA, and made with integrity. The replacement blades are inexpensive too, so you get a great shave and you save money long term, because when you buy Western Razor once, it lasts forever. Listeners of this show get a 10% discount on any order when they use promo code MATT10 at checkout. Don't let those other razor brands lie to your face. Go to westernrazor.com, order yours today. Western Razor, the last razor you will ever need. There are also some Valentine's Day releases from our friends at Hero Soap Company. Eucalyptus plus lilac is crisp and cool eucalyptus and delicate and floral lilac. Your shower will feel like a spa day at home. Or there is cypress and teakwood, strong, exotic, and woodsy, to command that special evening like a lumberjack returning from the forest. As always, 10% off everything from our friends at Hero Soap Company using promo code MCListener. Find all the information on Western Razor Company and Hero Soap Company at mattchristiansenmedia.com/deals. Deals by listeners for listeners. All right, a couple of quick pieces of housekeeping before we get into it. Next Sunday's show is, of course, Super Bowl Sunday. We will be live after the Super Bowl because, as is tradition, I don't try to compete with the Super Bowl. So next Sunday we'll be live about an hour later than normal, approximately 10 p.m. Eastern, plus 5 minutes for me to figure out what I did wrong to start the show, like tonight. That could change.
Just my fault.
Yeah, I'll blame Matt P. If there's some kind of change of plans, if the game runs long, if there's overtime, whatever, I'll post updates on X, or just check out mattchristiansenmedia.com for the latest information. And I have an update in the world of my defective PC too. If you're a regular listener, you're familiar with the saga of this PC and its recurring mystery crashes.
Duct tape all over the place. It's a disgrace.
So I bought the PC brand new in September to avoid tech issues, and ironically, it has become a source of constant tech problems. Last week, I mentioned that the top nerds at Best Buy had supposedly fixed the PC. They did not, because I was recording my video on Friday, and it crashed during the recording of the video, but at least that wasn't during a live stream. So as I committed to myself mentally, if this thing crashes even one more time, it's in the box, it's off to the manufacturer. Not quite. It's currently sitting with the top nerds again who think they can fix it, but I don't think they can. Anyway, it's going back to the manufacturer, and I had to buy another PC to run the show and set it up yesterday. So knock on wood, this PC is going to run the show much better than the other one. But, you can look forward to the crash in 20, 30 minutes, something like that. If the show goes offline, that's what happened. It's another defective PC. But Matt,
if it crashes, am I here alone or do I go off too?
You should theoretically go off. I'm going to have to restart it, so that will cut the stream. But I forget that you haven't been. It only happens when Batman's here. He causes the crashes.
You always have someone else to be as the fall guy. Fortunately.
Well, yeah, you haven't been here for a crash yet, so you haven't experienced that part of the show.
I'm late start. Batman is crash.
Well, you sent this to me early. Yes. I think you might have broke this to me earlier today. The border agents, one is Customs and Border Protection, the other is Border Patrol. The guys who shot Alex Pretti dead in Minneapolis are now identified. As you mentioned, they are known Nazi white supremacists Jesus Ochoa and Raimundo Gutierrez. Ochoa is with Border Patrol. Gutierrez is with Customs and Border Protection. Ochoa has been with Border Patrol since 2018. Gutierrez has been with Customs and Border Protection since 2014. So they're both experienced. Ochoa has actually worked on a special response team. He conducted high-risk operations. They are not identified by DHS, by Homeland Security, by any federal government agency. They are identified by the journalistic outlet ProPublica. So it sounds like they said they saw records that named these guys as the shooters, which means what, Matt? How did this information get out?
I mean, it's either leaked, which is, probably 99% of it, or they used one of those like AI facial recognition things and it got cross-referenced with their social media. But I would assume someone probably leaked it.
I assumed it was journalistic doxing, much like Don Lemon's journalistic church raids, which we're about to get into. But yeah, if that's the source, and I'm not saying this isn't in the public interest. All right, I get all that. But if the policy at whatever Customs and Border Protection or the Justice Department or Homeland Security was, we're not going to name these guys publicly for now, and they are now named publicly, and it came from within, you have a leaker problem that you need to figure out. So,
yeah. But I remember years ago, and this was before the hiring surge, the stats were that something like half of Border Patrol agents were Hispanic, and I think it was 20 to 25% of ICE agents are Hispanic. So it's, they're trying to portray ICE and Border Patrol as like a neo-Nazi paramilitary when it's really Hispanics telling other Hispanics to go back where they came from. So,
all right, well, we'll keep an eye on that if we learn more about it. But other news broke Friday morning.
Ladies and gentlemen,
we got him.
We got him.
Finally, 2 weeks after he invaded that church service in St. Paul on the premise that one of the pastors at the church is an ICE agent, or the director, the field director in Minnesota, which maybe Matt, as far as I'm aware, that still has not been confirmed. It's like their hotel targeting where they say, there's an ICE guy, or there are ICE guys staying here, but as far as I'm aware, that's never confirmed. Have you seen any information to show that that there's an ICE field director pastor at the church? Was that even true?
I mean, I haven't seen that confirmed, no. And this has happened a lot in the Minneapolis footage where you'll see, like, basically anyone who looks normal gets accused of being a Fed or an ICE agent, and they'll get attacked, and there's nothing you can do to convince them otherwise. I mean, we talked about it last week where it was two, like, guys who work in tech got mistaken as ICE, and it's probably just because they're clean-cut white guys. But no, these people see ICE wherever, and they were gonna do this regardless, and that was just the excuse. But they like to cause noise. They like to intimidate people. They like to flex power over people. So that was just their way, I guess, to justify it. But I don't think they actually cared whether or not that was true.
Well, the FBI arrested Don Lemon on charges of conspiring to violate rights and obstructing a church service under the FACE Act. And as a longtime super chatter and friend of the show, Knuckle Hunky Buck, said in one of my all-time favorite super chats, when life gives you Don Lemon, give Don Lemon AIDS. And the White House was so close. They said, when life gives you lemons, they were posting the news about the Don Lemon arrest. But no Don Lemon AIDS joke. And perhaps Don will get AIDS if or when he goes to prison. Perhaps he already has AIDS. Unclear. I don't know. But he was arrested on Friday, and he had his court hearing Friday, and he was released on Friday. No bail, released on his own recognizance, and no conditions either, other than he has signed some paperwork promising to return to court.
And he can go on vacation later this year, they also said.
No, where's he going?
So, I think it was France, but I think that there was something in there where he requested that he still be allowed to go on vacation, I think in June or July, and they granted it. So...
Well, Don Lemon immediately held a press conference because this is, it's not just the Don Lemon Show, the stream. This has become the Don Lemon Show. It's not about the people he obstructed at the church. It's about the glorification of Don Lemon himself. So he has a press conference outside the courthouse saying he was arrested just for doing what he's been doing for 30 years, which is crazy. I had not heard that Don Lemon had been invading and shutting down church services for the last 30 years, but I'm glad they finally caught up to him.
I've spent my entire career covering the news. I will not stop now. In fact, there is no more important time than right now, this very moment, for a free and independent media that shines a light on the truth and holds those in power accountable. Again, I will not stop now. I will not stop ever. Last night, the DOJ sent a team of federal agents to arrest me in the middle of the night for something that I've been doing for the last 30 years, and that is covering the news. The First Amendment of the Constitution protects that work for me and for countless of other journalists who do what I do. I stand with all of them, and I will not be silenced. I look forward to my day in court.
I am a gay homosexual.
Of course, Don was not arrested just for covering the news. He was arrested for participating in, even organizing the stunt of invading the church, shutting down a Sunday service, which is a crime, by the way, not just under federal law. It's a crime under Minnesota state statute, too. It's just that Minnesota doesn't care to prosecute it. But you see what happened to Karen Bass?
Oh, epic. I love how, too, he doesn't condemn all the other people getting arrested. So he's basically admitting he knows it's wrong. He's just trying to give himself an out because he's
I'm a journalist.
Supposedly
I'm
reporting.
different. Yeah.
What is the journalistic story that Don Lemon is known for breaking or covering?
Yeah, I would like
way?
clarification on that. And if he was just an uninvolved bystander, he's not a participant. Why is he seen giving them coffee and donuts? Why is he kissing the organizer? Why is he doing a ride along? Yeah. Anyway, so Don Lemon, he's such a big deal. So again, he's arrested in LA. This happened in Minnesota, of course, but he's arrested in LA. He has his first court hearing in LA. And that is such a big deal that LA Mayor Karen Bass attended. And she spoke outside the courthouse as well. And there was a heckler, as far as I'm aware, unidentified. Hey, Karen, I noticed that you were gone in Africa when the city burned down last year. But if Don Lemon is arrested, suddenly Karen has to clear her schedule. She will be there. Here's Karen Bass getting heckled in L.A.
Step aside, please. Let the mayor come through.
Fuck you, Karen Bass!
You're right, Mayor, you're right. Over here. There's a podium.
Hey, get over there. Don't do that over here. Don't do that over here.
Fuck you, Karen Bass! Fuck you, Karen Bass! Fuck you, Karen Bass! Fuck you, Karen Bass!
Can we get everybody closer, please? Can we get everybody closer? Tighter, please.
Fuck off!
Hero.
Where's the duck hunting lady when you need her? Yeah, I don't know who this lady is, but she's a close
second. She needs a GoFundMe or a Give, Send, Go or whatever.
I'm sure. I bet we'll talk more about Bananas and Rice Girl later. She didn't have a highly successful GoFundMe. I bet this woman could beat her if she tried.
Easily.
We'll go through the charges and the facts a little bit here. So
I skimmed that earlier. And it seemed like, I don't know if it's airtight, but I mean, it was strong enough for a grand jury. I mean, obviously I'm biased, but I thought it was good. It was strong enough. I
think it's airtight. Will they secure a conviction is definitely a different question.
I should reframe that. I don't know if it's airtight in the context of the jury they're going to get. Because
although I believe jurors can be pulled or are pulled. Is it statewide or it's not just the Twin Cities because it's a federal charge within the entire state, right?
I see. Okay, that's a good point.
I think.
Yeah. All right. So that's less. There's just been so many cases this term where there's basically been jury nullification of very tight cases,
and it could happen.
People. Yeah. So that's more what I was worried about. But they do. I mean, I'll let you describe it, but they do show that he was more than just someone reporting. He was an active participant. Yeah.
And by the way, you can tell that by watching Don Lemon's show. And these are on principle. These are accusations. He is entitled to a presumption of innocence. All that.
Nah.
There are accusations on paper from the DOJ, and then there's just watching Don Lemon stream to see it happen. Mm-hmm. So again, it's one charge of conspiracy against the right of religious freedom at a place of worship, and one charge of injuring, intimidating, or interfering with the exercise of the right of religious freedom at a place of worship. That would be the FACE Act violation. As far as Don Lemon's specific behavior, the DOJ says, and really they just they wrote a summary of what they saw on the stream is what happened here. Don Lemon met with the group for a pre-operation briefing in which he was advised about the operation. Don Lemon began live streaming the event, explaining to his audience what was going to happen in general terms while making sure to maintain operational secrecy for the benefit of the operation and reminding the members of the group with whom he was discussing, do not disclose the target ahead of time because we have to maintain that operational secrecy. Don Lemon thanked the operation organizer. That would be Nikema Levy Armstrong for what she was doing. He didn't just thank her. He kissed her. You can watch that too. Upon arrival at the church, Don Lemon, along with the rest of the group, threatened and intimidated the congregants by physically occupying most of the aisle space, loudly chanting and yelling, and physically obstructing congregants as they attempted to exit or move. Don Lemon commented on his stream about a young man he could see was frightened, scared, and crying, describing it as a traumatic experience, which Lemon says was the intent. Lemon said that the point of the operation is to disrupt, which has criminal implications under a statute that says no disrupting church services. Lemon approached the pastor and peppered him with questions to promote the operation's message. The pastor critically told Lemon to leave, which again we can watch happen. Lemon did not do that, at least immediately. So beyond all this federal technical mumbo jumbo, it's just a simple trespass in the state of Minnesota, and they don't even want to prosecute that. Okay, Lemon placed himself in the church doorway, physically obstructing congregants trying to leave. And again, these aren't just accusations. These are highlights from the stream that you can watch yourself. So a few other highlights from the indictment and the affidavit. It's not just Don Lemon, of course. It's a group of people. But there's an interesting detail about the woke farmer guy.
Come and get me, Pam Bondi.
That guy, the guy who dared Pam Bondi to come get him. So that's William Kelly. He goes by the online moniker Woke Farmer or Da Woke Farmer. He screamed Nazi in congregants' faces and asked child congregants, "Do you know your parents are Nazis? They're going to burn in hell."
These people don't even believe in hell.
Well,
you're going to go burn in this place that I don't actually believe in. Like, shut up.
There's nothing more annoying than the opponent of Christianity, someone who otherwise hates Christianity, policing what Christianity is. I know Don Lemon says he's Christian. I'm not here to police his faith. But the rest of these people, I guarantee you, William Kelly would consider himself hostile to Christianity. He was very hostile that day, screaming Nazi in children's faces. But the same congregant told investigators that one of the agitators was screaming in children's faces while they cried, according to the indictment, and presumably that was Woke Farmer as well.
You fucking traitorous bitch.
Another congregant told the investigators that he feared that the agitators had guns, that they thought it would be a mass shooting. That would be my thought if I was in there. Is there a mass shooting that's about to go down? Apparently, they also, according to the affidavit, they blocked parents from accessing their children in the daycare, which was downstairs. Jeez. And there is also one woman who, according to the DOJ, fled out of fear and fell while she was fleeing and broke her arm or suffered some sort of arm injury as well. So on your you mentioned that this is probably an airtight case. Okay. On the charge of conspiring against rights, this is a literal conspiracy on video organized for the purpose of obstructing First Amendment rights of others. Like, as far as conspiring against the rights of others, I don't know how it gets more clear when it's recorded, live streamed. Hey guys, here's our church obstruction club meeting for the purpose of obstructing a church service. Okay, let's all go obstruct. High five, and then they go do it. How much more clearly could you violate that law?
What if you tried to argue something like, well, hey, if you're, a war reporter, you might not agree with the group of soldiers you're with who are carrying out some action or something. How would that parallel in any way, or is it just that's a whole separate thing?
I think the defining feature here is being a part of the organizational meeting ahead of time, clearly showing affection for, appreciation for those committing the crime. And if you had knowledge ahead of time that a crime was going to go down, keeping that to yourself for the purpose of participating in it, rather than reporting the intent to commit the crime to the authorities,
right?
All of those are highly questionable facters. Okay. I think that make him clearly a participant rather than just a guy who happened to see some news going on.
Smart. I am disappointed no one got assaulted by the parishioners, though. Like, the whole blocking off the kids, the fathers would have been totally justified.
It's self-defense at that point. It's not even assault.
Self-defense situation.
Yeah. Now, on the FACE Act charge, again, it's obstructing a church inside the church during service, which is exactly what the FACE Act prohibits. And I will note that a lot of the prosecutions, again, the FACE Act prohibits obstructing medical clinics, including under the federal government's interpretation of that term, abortion clinics, and churches. And in the context of the Biden administration's prosecutions of people protesting at abortion clinics, yes, many of them obstructed, as in blocked entrances or even entered the building. But in a lot of those cases of prosecution, they never even entered, and they were still prosecuted for protesting outside or other activities outside. Now, will Don Lemon actually go to prison? He says he's going to fight the charges, so implicitly there will be no plea deal, although I'm sure his lawyer will have something to say about that. But he's got Hunter Biden's lawyer, doesn't he? He's got Abel Lowell or whoever it is. It will be in a Minnesota trial if it goes to trial. Again, I believe the jurors will be pulled from, they will be pulled more broadly than just the Twin Cities, so maybe that works against him. And it'll also, whether he goes to prison will depend on how the convictions work out. The conspiracy against rights charge is a felony, so the more serious charge. The FACE Act charge is a misdemeanor. And so we'll see what happens with Don Lemon. Now, there's plenty of reaction to what happened with Don Lemon, which I want to get into. I'll have to save that till after Sean is gone. But
with the FACE Act, I mean, they put pro-lifers in jail for years over that. And if I recall correctly, I think that was like one of the only times in history, or at least one of the first ones, that the FACE Act was even enforced, was Biden using it against pro-lifers. And
it hasn't been around. It's a 90s law, so it's relatively new, I suppose. But
I don't think it was ever very well enforced. But we've sort of heard from the wishy-washy right, like, we can't use power against the left, or else when they're in charge, they'll use it against us. And we've officially flipped the script, in that they weaponized the FACE Act against us, and now we can use it against them. So,
and I don't even think that, I wouldn't even grant the premise this is weaponization. This is letter of the law. This is not like twisting.
Well, I mean, they set the precedent that this was going to be used for this kind of purpose.
Yeah, this is going to be a prosecutorial priority. Yeah.
Yep. So good.
All right. Well, I got to go get Sean. I got more to say on the reaction to Don Lemon later in the show, so we'll get back into it. Of course, we'll talk more Don Lemon with Sean, but let me go get him. And Matt, I will see you back here in about a half hour, all right?
See you, boss.
Stand back and stand by.
My guest tonight is Sean Fitzgerald. You can find his YouTube channel, Actual Justice Warrior, and his X account linked in the description. Welcome back, Sean. Thanks for making time.
Thank you for having me. Good to be here. How are you doing?
I am great. How are you doing?
I'm doing good.
You're surviving in Mamdani's New York City?
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll get into that.
I'm not out in the cold, thankfully. Benefits of not being homeless. He's so generous, too.
Yeah. We'll get into the unfortunate effects for the homeless population in New York City momentarily, but we're going to get a little bit more into the Alex Pretti shooting, but specifically the assassination theory. So if I understand this correctly, this would be the idea that that federal agents were so fed up, so enraged by Alex Pretti's, I guess, taillight kicking or whatever his antics were, that the actions that happened last weekend were some sort of revenge op. Is that correct?
Yes. While most of us looked at the video and we were like, well, we know he's not this innocent, not interfering legal observer, whatever that means. He's actually an activist who is disrupting ICE. The left wing decided to concoct a completely different narrative, and not the one where it's like, well, this doesn't make the shooting justified, which I think you and I both agree on. Yeah, that's obvious. But actually, it proves that ICE basically created this scenario where he had to jump in so they could kill him. Like, that's an actual thing the left wing is pushing right now.
Yeah, I didn't understand how it became this claim, oh, everybody on the right is, what are you saying? That because he kicked a car, he deserved to be shot a week later? Obviously not. Literally nobody said that. What it demonstrated was a pattern of behavior that explains why he ended up in a violent altercation, because he repeatedly insisted on violent altercations. Now, I don't know. Go ahead. Sorry.
It's something that they do all the time in these cases. You know, Trayvon Martin was just getting Skittles. Then you find out that no, he was in a physical altercation with George Zimmerman. Michael Brown, my absolute favorite one, was out spreading the word of Jesus Christ the day that he was shot. And it's like, no, he was committing a strong arm robbery. Like they do these things where they basically paint this person as a saint, which they absolutely did. Anna Navarro and Tim Walz said that this guy was the best among us. Anna Navarro said he could not be maligned. You would want your daughter to date this guy. And we all knew that he was a left-wing agitator before there was evidence of that, because we could see from the encounter, he's doing all the things left-wing agitators do. So yeah, that completely disabuses them of that narrative. But now they have a completely other one, which is even more ridiculous.
Did you, I know you posted a video about it, and I haven't seen that video from you. So I don't know if you want to name names, but I have a clip from the video that you were referencing. Should I play some of the? All right, here we go. This is the theory as presented by Kyle Kulinski.
So stop and think about it. You got a guy who's protesting, yelling at and demeaning these ICE thugs. He gets jumped by them, gets his rib broken. He's out there a couple days later. They have him. They have his name. They know he's in a database, and then they roll up on him and basically assault him with pepper spray when he's trying to protect a woman who they shove, and they murder him. Like 8 of them are on top of him, jumping him like they're in a gang, and then they murder him. I think Occam's razor at this point is that this was a targeted assassination, right? Like, is it just a coincidence that they beat his ass and broke his ribs a few days before? I think this shit was a targeted assassination, and I would be shocked if it wasn't. To me, there's enough evidence to say that that's Occam's razor.
The reason I'm laughing is Occam's razor, I think most people know, but the idea that the simplest explanation is usually true. What would you consider the simplest explanation for what happened, Sean?
I mean, considering there are 3,000 agents deployed to Minneapolis, the idea that these were like the same people and that this was a plan that they had executed, I think Occam's razor is the federal government is not like a dungeon master where they plan out all the things and everybody's just pieces in it. Because think about how ridiculous this is. They want revenge on this guy for breaking a taillight and spitting at an ICE agent. So what they do is not go after him and kill them or wait for him to show up because he was following them around and get into an encounter directly with him. Instead, they get into an encounter with a female or 2 females on the hopes that he'll jump in like a dumbass. Then they could wrestle him. Then during the altercation, somebody will notice that he has a gun. Then the gun will be removed. And then possibly we have a misfire or some kind of miscommunication. And then they fire shots in a shooting that, by the way, unlike the Renee Good case, is much more difficult to defend from a law enforcement standpoint. Like, this was their plan. This is the simplest explanation. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's a good point, too, because you forget how it originated. If it was just a murder quest on Pretti, those other women would have to be unknowing parts of the plot in some bizarre way. But you mentioned defending the shooting. What is your theory of the case? Because I'm kind of all in on this defective Sig Sauer discharge theory. The idea that Pretti's gun, when they were disarming him, due to problems with that model or maybe mishandling by the agent, I don't know, but there was an accidental discharge which prompted the other agents to return fire. That's what I think happened, but I don't know if you have a different theory of the case.
I do believe that's the case. I'm waiting for the feds to at least officially allege that, though. I find it interesting that I haven't seen them put that out as their explanation, because you do hear the shot. I think that video is very compelling of the agent where it kind of looks like the shot's fired. Sure, it's like low quality, but you do hear the shot and then it seems like they're responding to that. So I do think those officers that are firing, because, they just yelled gun, 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 and they have like a good faith reason to believe that the arrest that's being effectuated is legal, whether it turns out to be later on the original like encounter. And so those officers to me are in the clear, but I think Nate the lawyer actually has a great video on how if the initial encounter with the women was not a legit encounter, then that officer specifically would be guilty of felony murder, even if the other officers wouldn't. So I do find that to be interesting, like as a possibility, but overall, I totally buy into this SIG defective gun thing. It's just like when you hear insane arguments like they assassinated him, it's nice to hear like a sound argument from somebody who's not crazy. Again, shout out to Nate the lawyer for making that case, because you know, originally I'm like, this is a pretty bad shooting. Like regardless, it was not the most optimal solution once they had the firearm away from him for him to be shot. But it looks like, you know, the gunshot being set off couple seconds after they yell gun, 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 that's why they opened fire, not like an assassination. And he had a phone in his hand after they just yelled gun, gun, gun. So you understand the context why certain things happen, unless you're crazy and you think this is like the most elaborate assassination plot ever.
Last note on Occam's razor. One side note about the second angle of him doing the spitting and kicking the tail lights. If you listen, you can actually hear him. I call it doing the Joseph Rosenbaum, the guy in Kenosha who's begging, "Shoot me, N-word, shoot me." Yeah. Right, you can hear him saying, "Assault me."
No.
You can hear him literally begging for it, and that's not part of Occam's razor. Again, saying "assault me" doesn't justify an assault committed against you, but at what point does being out on the street every day insisting upon violent encounters, at what point are you, at least at some level, responsible for the violent encounters?
Right. It's true. And I will also point out that because he's doing this, like while this does not justify the shooting later on, there could be more video for us to see in the future of them approaching, and maybe that woman that the ICE agent was originally shoving, for sure crossing the line, which would make like trying to restrain her a legitimate arrest. And then this whole shooting is legit. And that is a higher possibility now that we know this context, not a lower possibility, even though, again, I will point out that we all knew that this guy was a left-wing agitator from the jump. Like, it's just that we didn't have evidence of it.
Yeah, and I get that maybe people had a different opinion before they saw the aggression and the spitting and the kicking. But even in the original video, the thing I couldn't get over was the bizarre dragging of the woman. I get that he's trying to protest ICE. If I'm trying to be as charitable as possible, I think there's obstruction there to the extent he's standing in their way and blocking them. But okay, you could say, well, he has a right to be in a public place. The dragging after the pepper spray is constantly characterized as helping. He was just trying to help a woman. I don't understand the help. Dragging her into the street, or is he just confused by the pepper spray that he thinks he's dragging them to a better place?
He could be disoriented. It's slippery. There's like a million things that could explain that. But the fact that it gets described, like you say, as like, oh, he was helping her up, and it's like it looks like he's dragging her on the pavement. You are right. But bizarre, like in context, since he was trying to intervene in the arrest on her behalf, you would assume after he got sprayed, you're blinded a little, he's like grabbing onto her, and it just looks super awkward and strange and weird. You know what I mean? Imagine this was just a domestic violence, like he was just trying to beat on this woman, like the biggest plot twist of the century, Kyle Kalinske level conspiracy theory.
Yeah, well, I've never had a woman in a headlock to assist her, which he also kind of, you can say he had his arm around her, but it looked, I don't know, a little like a strong grip to me. Anyway, what do you make of the Don Lemon arrest and the pending prosecution? We were talking about that before you joined, but what are your thoughts on Lemon?
So I did a video on this where I just like read the FACE Act, and I also did one before where I went over the Klan Act, and these are like both specifically designed, at least Section 2 of the FACE Act is. Obviously, Section 1 is about like abortion clinics, but they're both specifically designed to like stop you from doing this very thing, disrupting religious services in this particular case. And Don Lemon 100% did it. Like the idea that we have to question whether or not he's guilty, like in terms of just factual basis, is absurd. Like he's 100% guilty, and I believe there is a almost 0% chance he will be convicted. In fact, I have it at 97% this will get dismissed before trial because they already went through 3 judges and maybe a grand jury just to get him charged. And yeah, it's our crazy double standard, you know, where Jan 6 trespassers get hunted down around the country, but Black Lives Matter rioters get paid the largest settlements in their city's history, as is true in Philadelphia and New York City and a bunch of other places. So I think he's not going to get convicted. It's kind of a waste of time.
Unless he wants the conviction. That's Occam's razor. I think, like Trump was talking about, he wants the conviction for publicity purposes.
No, I think he wanted to be arrested and he wants to beat the charges and all that because
probably.
But even if, like, again, even if he got convicted, which he won't, but even if that were to happen, the sentencing will be delayed until a Democrat comes in and he'll be pardoned. Like he is not serving any jail time. And it kind of distracts from, because, you know, he can make the argument, to be fair to Don Lemon, even though I think he was a part of this event, like the planning. And, you know, it's like they used to criticize Christiansen for not reporting the news, but making the news when he was doing these predator stings. And I think that's actually a valid criticism of him. But like,
you're not allowed to criticize Chris Hansen on this show. That's one of the best pieces of TV ever made.
That's technically not journalism if you're making the scene.
Yeah,
you know
I mean? I get what you're saying. You are creating the story necessarily. Yeah.
Yeah. So for Lemon, like he could say, look, I'm like embedded in the same way that a war correspondent is embedded with the troops. I wouldn't be held responsible for things that they did. Now we know that's nonsense and that he is an activist, and that if a Fox News host or a former Fox News host went into a mosque to confront an imam based on his political beliefs, and 6-year-old little Muhammad was crying in the corner, that guy would be in jail instantly. But like, yeah, he's not going to get convicted. I hate to break it to anybody who's excited about this. 100% guilty, 0% chance of conviction.
I was really hoping if it's only one. I know we got the FACE Act, we got the please let it be the KKK Act. That's actually the felony charge too, so it's a more serious charge. But if there's only one, please let Don Lemon be convicted under the KKK Act. I think that's a fair request for everybody. But
I want that Black Lives Matter woman convicted of the Klan Act. That would be amazing.
Well, of course, everybody, as far as I'm aware, is charged with the same thing. I think they all have the same 2 charges. Do you think that that's probably going to be the course of action for everybody? Pretty much everybody's going to get away with it? Or do you think Don Lemon, with, I guess, his special high profile, might have a better chance?
No, I think acquittal? Don Lemon, I think he's going to be able to make that case that like he's like a war correspondent embedded. I actually think there is a chance of conviction for the Black Lives Matter woman and the like weirdo guy. Like I did know their names at one point when I did the video, but they have
Woke
left my
Farmer.
brain.
How could you forget him?
Yeah, I think those guys could get convicted,
Bondi.
depending on the jury.
Yeah. Okay, well, I want to hear what's going on with the frozen hobos in New York City. What's the deal with that?
Okay, so have you gotten snow? I know you're all the way on the left side of the country.
Well, I'm midway left, so I'm in the mountain time zone. I'm in Montana, but this is normally, of course, we're a mountainous, snowy climate. This year is the mildest winter I can remember, and I've lived about half my life in Montana, and I can't remember a winter more mild than this one. So I don't know I gather it's cold and snowy in New York City. I don't know if it's more cold and more snowy than usual, but you tell me.
It is a very cold January right now. It's been under freezing for the past like week and a half. We had the snowstorm, like, you know, obviously it was all over the news. It hit multiple parts of the country. But then because it's so cold, nothing's melting, you know, which is shocking to Candace Owens. But like most of us who understand how freezing temperature works.
I saw that one.
Like, we understand that makes sense. But like what's interesting about this is that Mamdani, our new mayor, is doing all this propaganda about like, you know, how sanitation plows the streets. And they've done a fine job, I guess, of plowing the streets. I'm not like there to knock them on that. But like the left wing is acting like he invented snow plows or putting salt on the road or all the normal things that a city does. Meanwhile, like all that stuff, all that infrastructure, that's all existed in New York City for decades. Like this is not new or unique to Mamdani. But what is unique to Mamdani is that just prior to being sworn in, he announced, and he did this day one, that he would end what are called homeless sweeps. And this is where you have the NYPD along with the Department of Sanitation clear up these homeless encampments, and they like push people into shelters because they say you can't sleep on the street. Now, normally on California, you're not allowed to do this because there's not enough nightly beds in shelters. So of course you end up with like a god tier right by the Ninth Circuit to camp in public that doesn't exist anywhere else in the nation. But in New York, we don't have that, and we actually have enough shelters for regular, ordinary homeless people. So this is like something that Adams would do periodically, but this is something that almost all mayors do in severe cold weather. Like you don't let people sleep on the street. Well, Mamdani ended those sweeps, and he announced that they were sending out all these different teams to convince these people to come in from the cold. But the problem is that these people are not in their right mind. A bunch of them are mentally ill. So like, you know, in the same way that Jordan Neely was sentenced to a mental health facility without a lock on it, and he agreed to go, but, you know, he was a paranoid schizophrenic, so his other personality decided that he didn't want to be there, so he left, and he gets killed in the train, and everybody acts like the tragedies that Daniel Penny defended them. In this case, you had a bunch of homeless people probably refuse the offer to go inside, and now 13 are dead due to this policy in the last week, frozen out in the cold. And there's already a cover up. I've called this Mamdani's first communist massacre. It wasn't a famine; it was a freeze.
Well, my only theoretical point of pushback, or the only way I could challenge, is there another explanation? My question would be, how many dead bums is a normal week in New York City? Is 13 a lot, or is that the average? I don't know.
I lost you for a second.
Oh, okay. My question was, I don't know what the baseline is. I don't know what the average number of dead hobos in New York City is per week. So is 13 higher than average? Is that a record, or is that normal?
I've not heard something like this. So like, but the thing is, we haven't had winter be this cold in a lot of years. So like, you know, you could say it's like an unfair comparison, but I do know that there was a severe snowstorm in 2016. And part of the strategy in the Bloomberg administration was to get these people off the streets. Like say that, like basically you can't sleep on the streets like that. That's how they would enforce it. And even though it happens during these severe weather events, you just move these people. Like you worry about the problems associated with that after the fact, because it's theoretically, at least in previous administrations, more important for them to not die than for them to feel kind, like you treated them kindly. But Mamdani does not believe that. He thinks showing them kindness and having them freeze in the snow is the preferred option.
So has he signaled that he's going to change his course of action at all? Is he going to do anything differently? He's committed to the frozen bums.
More teams, more kindness, more convincing. And again, it's based on the idea that moving these homeless people off the streets is not a good in and of itself. So we criticize Mayor Eric Adams for doing this because he's like, oh, well, we didn't place these people in permanent apartments. It's like, so what? Like, who cares? Like we're trying to get them off the streets and stop these camps from growing. And the thing about this is that this is also not like a post-diction where you look at it after the fact. I made a video about this before the fact, that we're coming on this cold spell, that this is a terrible policy. The local news media went out and confronted Mamdani and said, hey, look, like these encampments are expanding. It's getting colder. Before that, I sent you over a news clip of that. And yeah, so he was warned in advance. He didn't do anything. Then this happened over the course of days. He didn't change the policy. And we're supposed to pretend like Mamdani handled this perfectly. It's like, no, you left people out to die in the name of compassion. Like we hear about suicidal empathy. This is homicidal empathy.
Oh, man. That's a great way to put it. Very unfortunate, of course. But yeah, man, we'll see how this goes. Is this the first communist massacre of many? You will find out.
Also, I want to point out that while Mamdani's worried about ICE killing people, it turns out ICE was the real killer all along.
All right, well played. I wanted to ask you too about a video you posted, because I find the the failure that the insistence on body cams over the last decade for police has become to be fascinating. That is to say, how many times have we seen a Black Lives Matter narrative totally destroyed by body cam video? It seems like the regular expectation. Yeah. In contrast, have I seen police abuses on body cam? Sometimes, rarely, but I'm still waiting for the video of a cop saying, "I don't like N-words," and shooting a guy in the head, okay? That one has not come out yet. And so you have a bizarre relationship between the activists and body cams where they were supposed to prove their point, but they clearly have not. And I made a joke, I don't know, a week or two ago, like how long until they want to ban the body cams for that reason. And I didn't know that there are people. Is this guy calling for the banning? Or there's an academic on Democracy Now! And you're talking about this, and he's calling for the banning of body cams.
He's the author of a book called Copaganda, and as I was listening to him on Democracy Now!, I realized that this is like the guy that a bunch of lefties would give the talking points from. So he's like, oh, cops don't arrest people for air pollution or wage theft, like all the dumb crap that lefties say in order to like diminish the value of policing. But yeah, he's like, these are a propaganda tool, the body cams, because they distract us from like the real issue, which is that we need to like defund the police. And this guy goes way further. He's against prisons and like all kinds of stuff. But like, if you think about it, the reason they want body cams gone is because a Black Lives Matter narrative cannot exist with body cam footage. Like, think about the the one that kicked off the body cams, Michael Brown. If you look at the Department of Justice forensic report on that case, most of the witnesses that were there, it is obvious that Michael Brown went for Officer Darren Wilson's gun, punched him in the face, ran away, then ran back toward Darren Wilson. We have like all this forensic evidence that proves it, never put his hands up, never surrendered. And yet that case still gets repeated to this very day because there's no body cam. Breonna Taylor, no body cam in that case. George Floyd, the other major one in 2020. We did get body cam, but remember, Keith Ellison withheld that for like 60 days after the cell phone video was out. Yeah. And he cited some like, oh, it's Minnesota law or whatever. But how many times have we seen in a case where the body cam is the only video and there's laws and protocols and procedures, and they quickly amend that to release the body cam? The reason the Floyd one was withheld is if people had heard early on Floyd say he can't breathe 13 times prior to being under Chauvin's knee, or the foaming at the mouth, that they would have saw him earlier on, that would have totally changed the narrative. So the reason these guys want to get rid of the body cams, in my opinion, based on what I'm reading into what they're saying, is that they think that it destroys their cause, because it absolutely does. I mean, like I literally have videos on my channel where the thumbnail is just the media's image of this person, usually graduating high school or wearing a suit to like prom.
During their scholarly career, yes.
Yeah, and then how they look on the body cam, where they have like the crazy eyes or have the knife, like Sydney Wilson is an example of that. And it's like,
is she the one with the big hair with the knife?
The women's basketball player.
That's right. That's like one of the scariest body cam images I've ever seen.
Yeah, she stabbed up the Asian cop in that particular case. Remember, before that body cam footage came out, they were like, oh, a cop shot somebody on a routine wellness check. Like, they were just trying to help her. She was in mental distress. Like, that was the narrative that they put forward. Like, these narratives can't exist without they can't exist with the body cam. So that's why they want them banned.
Well, to paraphrase this guy, Alec Karakatsanis, I don't know how you say his name, but this is the guy writing the book that you're talking about. In this Democracy Now! Interview, the quote is, body cameras are a mirage. I mean, they're the opposite of a mirage. They are a picture of reality. But what he means is they're some sort of illusion, or they're ineffective because they don't reduce police violence. And I thought that was very interesting, because is that why we deployed body cameras, was to reduce police violence, or did we do it to pursue the truth? And if we grant that body cameras present us with the truth and yet violence doesn't decline, which is what he says, that would mean what? That would imply that the violence is actually justified under the circumstances. But this guy's conclusion is, no, we just have to, I guess, stop them from policing with violent means, which is an impossibility when dealing with violent people, unless you just don't police anymore, like you're saying.
he makes like absurd claims. Like he's like, oh, the police and all these people were originally in favor of body cams, but then in Michael Brown's situation, they like it, again, it's like a conspiratorial mindset. Like if you scroll down, you could even see it. He'll like, oh, they flipped completely on the issue. And then made it seem like it was a reform. So they like pulled like a double bluff on everyone. But in reality, that's not the case. Like in my video, I referenced that the Boston police ended up suing the city of Boston over body cams back in like 2016. The Chicago Police Union did it in 2018. Like the police fought these body cams every step of the way. Horrible decision, because this is like the most exonerating technology ever to exist for law enforcement. But they were absolutely against it, 100%. And the reformers were pushing it on them because they thought this would reveal that black people were telling the truth about these law enforcement encounters all the time. And yeah, they did make it racial at the time. These were Black Lives Matter based reforms. And it turned out it proved the exact opposite in the overwhelming amount of times. I mean, there's like a case I remember where a cop turned on his body cam, not realizing that it did like a 30-second loop back. That's when it started recording. And he went and planted like some kind of drug and like discovered it, right? Like, so that was like an instance of the body cam revealing something that was not good, a plant of evidence, and then like him just like staging the discovery of evidence. But like this was supposed to show us that all these like shootings and like serious assaults were bad. And that's like one of the examples I could think of an actual crime being captured on it. And remember that incident where the guy took the bag out and then like a little drug bag, or potentially a drug bag, and he put it on the seat, and the black guy was filming it while in the car, and he's like, oh, you just planted that in the car. You just planted that in the car. He's like, I'm filming you. And the cop's like, yeah, I took that out of your friend's pocket and I threw it in there. It didn't even have drugs on it or whatever. But that video got posted, edited, that the cop was planting drugs, and then the body cam came out and it was exactly what the cop said. So that's why this guy like Alec doesn't want it there. And he makes up all these things about how the police are able to hide body cam, and sometimes they do delay the release. Let's be honest about it. But they're subject to Freedom of Information Act requests. He wants to go back to a time where you had cut down or edited cell phone videos that don't start when the officer arrives, because that ambiguity is where all the hoaxes exist. And this guy not only wrote a book, but he works in organizations that are based on getting these police reforms in. So he benefits from the lies. Like nobody wants to read propaganda if they find out that all the cases that he has are absolute bullshit.
Well, if you want to learn more about propaganda or the philosophy behind it, or hear anything more of Sean's thoughts on any of the stories we discussed, you can find his YouTube channel, Actual Justice Warrior, and his X account linked in the description. Sean, is there anything else you'd like to promote?
No, not that I could think of right now.
All right. Well, thank you for stopping by. As always, appreciate your time and your thoughts.
Thank you for having me.
All right, there he goes. Sean Fitzgerald, Actual Justice Warrior. I'm going to go get Matt. We'll get into your Super Chats. I'll be right back.
Stand back and stand by.
Thanks again to my guest, Sean Fitzgerald. Find his YouTube channel and his X account linked in the description. We appreciate him stopping by and his time and his thoughts. As always, Matt, anything you want to mention before we get into some Super Chat here?
No, really good interview with Sean. I like all his content, and I hope that him and Anna one day start dating.
Aren't they both married? I know Sean
Are they?
is. I don't know about
I knew
Anna.
Anna was, but I thought she might, leave the guy for Sean one day.
Your friend Lowbrow, unpronounceable name. You'll have to. I already forgot.
Some South African thing.
Mithakathy, which I know I'm pronouncing incorrectly anyway. You know who wasn't in the Epstein files? That would be Maddie P.
Bingo.
Matty P.
You on the other hand.
I haven't seen my name, but I haven't done the old Control F on the Epstein files to see if I'm named in there. I did see,
though, I think the N-word is in the Epstein files like 40 times, so I think he's pretty much canceled after this. You know? You got to draw the line somewhere.
You mean Epstein? Who's canceled?
Epstein. You can't use that word.
Oh, well, I thought he already was canceled.
This just makes it official.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tortuga. My last day for a big customer was Friday. After 16 years, I finally got to sleep in until 8 a.m. I forgot how nice that is. I feel fresh and free. So, Tortuga, I hope I'm not revealing too much by saying that I know you're on the cusp of a big career shift. Tortuga is kind of, from what I understand, leaving, a prior employment situation and going out on his own, seeing what he can build for himself and make for himself. And all the best, man. Congratulations. It's with great power comes great responsibility. You're going to find that out. It's sink or swim, and I know you're a talented guy, and I know you're going to build some cool stuff. So all the best with your efforts here and building something valuable for you and your family. It's I know you've worked for yourself in various capacities for a long time as a highly regarded author too, Matt.
Highly.
But there's a lot of scariness in not having the security of a theoretically stable employment situation, even though that's kind of an illusion at all times. But I'll tell you, and I'm sure you'd agree, I've never worked harder and produced better things than when I worked for myself. When I was working for other people, I'm constantly trying to find ways to do the minimum and get away with it. Can't do that when you're working for yourself.
But Office Space is the perfect movie when it comes to the incentives in corporate America. In that, in a perfect world, those who work hard get ahead. And if you isolate every variable when it comes to the equation of success, that's true. But in reality, being well-liked at a company will often help you more than being the hardest worker. And when you're working for yourself, the reward on you putting in more time and effort is completely linear. If I write twice as much, I'll make twice as much money. If I work twice as hard as a company, obviously you want to work as hard as you can when there is a payoff, but a lot of the time you're kind of a cog in the machine when it's a bigger company. So
oftentimes the incentive is reversed, as in, hey, that guy produces a lot of good work. Let's give him more responsibilities without the requisite pay.
Yep.
Now it's still on you to negotiate that and get something out of the value that you're providing. So you shouldn't accept that if you're in that situation. But
no, it's a good thing to do, and there's a lot of incentives too that don't exist. I mean, obviously this is a large percentage of income, but when you're self-employed, you can put 25% of your income into an IRA and take a huge tax saving there. I mean, I get most people probably can't, budget 25% of their income just for savings, but there are a lot of incentives, a lot more write-offs. I mean, if you're working out of a coffee shop every morning, you can deduct part of that in your tax, and it's not going to be much, but there's all these little advantages you get that you don't get when you're formally employed. So I don't know. I'm glad I took this path a decade or so ago.
Become a highly regarded author and never look back. It's a highly regarded career path too. VV. Andy No gets the shit beaten out of him. Not a single word from these people about journalism. Antifa is just an idea. Well, yeah. In fact, that was justified. It's good that Andy No got all that. Whatever that was. Wasn't it like some kind of weird milkshake they threw at him, and whether it had
it's like a concrete kind of thing. Yeah, it was. They were trying to kill the guy, and then made fun of him for it afterwards.
Well, they've tried to do all sorts of things to him, and I don't know how frequently he goes to Portland anymore or not. But I have to assume that the second he steps foot in that city anymore, it's like Minneapolis, where they have a whole communication apparatus dedicated to identifying and stalking him. So, Godspeed to him. Long Dong John. Don Lemon says he's a Christian. Well, I say... I got this ready for you.
Shut up, faggot.
Also, Matt, I hope you enjoyed the AI art I sent you, because I bet $100 that's the closest we will get to seeing Don Lemon in jail. So I did enjoy it. And so I always appreciate AI art submissions for potential thumbnail use, Long Dong John. So don't take my lack of using it as any kind of slight against you. To clue people in... They were, I don't know, I like funny thumbnail images and stuff, but these were images of very large black men looking at Don Lemon in a prison cell enthusiastically, like something was about to go down. And I thought...
something very unchristian.
That's maybe just a little too gay, even for my show. I'm gonna be a little more wholesome. And the truth is, Long Dong John, I already had I found the AI image of Don Lemon, the lemon, getting arrested. I thought that's more family friendly than Don Lemon about to get prison raped. But I appreciate the submission. Esoterica Unbound, is an incarcerated Don Lemon a potential market for Matt's signature soap? Is it even possible for this story to be more gay? Yeah, I don't know. It
needs a handle built into it.
Yeah, it's about as gay as it can get. Apocalypse, wow, local cops need to keep folks away from ICE. Yeah, some would say that whether you agree with the immigration enforcement or not, there are all sorts of local and state laws against this sort of violent behavior that have to be enforced for the rule of law to make any sense. That is to say, just because I don't like what a guy is doing out there doesn't mean I can go and harass him and even fight him physically in public. But this is what happens when you have political actors in law enforcement and they decide, nope, we're going to pick and choose what laws are valid or what laws aren't. Or really, it's just which laws are valid when applied to whom or not. You're watching a breakdown in the fundamental concepts of law and order in Minneapolis, and it's just political favoritism. That's all it is. Esoterica Unbound. The idea that the feds stalked and shot Pretti because he was an automotive vandal is supposed to make them seem more wrong, the ICE agents. That argument is a misfire. You know, half the people... Now, I haven't seen anybody high profile say this, but I like browsing left-wing comment sections to see what they're saying. Because I like to have my finger on the pulse of their insanity. It's like half the people in all these upvoted comments... Wow, he was vandalizing their car a week before? I didn't think he could get any cooler in my mind, but here he is. Oh, yeah, congratulations.
That's so cool. He kicked a taillight. I honestly was surprised how easy it is to kick out a taillight. I didn't realize that you could just do that.
There's one reason that people thought it was AI, and I'm not saying it's easy. I've never done it.
Nor have I, obviously.
But you know, it's secured with retaining clips into plastic panels and all that. So I'm sure it's not easy to do. You got to hit it just right. However, as some people were commenting in the video I posted yesterday about it, it does look like he's got some kind of boot footwear too. If he's got like steel-toed boots or some sort of heavy-duty boot, that would certainly help in the kicking effort. Tim says, I know I don't participate in calls these days, but fucking hell, I want to discuss the Don Lemon thing. I took a semester-long class called Media Law because journalists are supposed to, or they're subject to, the same laws as everyone else. There is no journalism exception. Well, carry around a microphone and a camera, or maybe be old school with just a notepad and a pen, or lug around a typewriter everywhere you go. As long as you're documenting the things, that is an exception, I guess. That makes you exempt from criminal law. So, pro tip, if you want to get away with whatever crimes you may be engaged in. Over on Rumble, and we'll get back into it, Corey Trevor 98. Jeez. Uh-oh. Don Lemon is a N-word, F-word. I mean, okay, I know Raju Mohan doesn't like me to say such things, but isn't that, like, slurs aside, isn't that just factually correct? He is an African-American man who is gay.
Yeah, it's a statement of fact. Yeah. There's anything wrong with that.
New show name idea. Gay and gayer.
Bingo.
Which one's just regular gay?
We'll have to find out.
I hope I'm just normal gay.
The reviews are in and they're not good, but at least we've improved the breathing this evening, I hope. So.
Yeah.
Or maybe that's part of the bit. Maybe we have like a suggestive. Maybe that adds to the steam factor, is the suggestive breathing, the heavy.
I haven't breathed once in the past hour.
Newbie of Death review. He's here to say, if you read this,
you are gay. LMAO.
Sorry, did I interrupt you? Did you have a thought?
Actual Justice Warrior left one that kind of clarifies something I was saying earlier, and it's good advice. So if we want to get his too, it's on the YouTube.
Oh, he left a super chat.
Yes.
I might have to refresh here. Well, thanks to Sean for joining the chat as well. VV, while I'm here, we're not going to enforce the law, otherwise the left's going to enforce it against us.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Republicans. Thanks, VV. Oh, he said, okay, Actual justice warrior. Don't do just an IRA. Do a solo 401k or a SEP 401k. You can contribute up to 70 grand tax deferred by doing both employer and employee contributions and still doing an IRA. Contributions can double if married. Now, this stuff is a little bit beyond me, but I know that when I was, and I got a guy who handles this stuff for me, so I'm not like in the woods. But I know that when I was working self-employed, I got screwed on everything, and it's not till I incorporated and became Matt Christiansen Media LLC, even though nothing changed really, other than like my tax classification. But that improved things financially greatly for me. So if you're somebody who's out there and you actually are self-employed, don't take my word for it because I didn't do this stuff. I had somebody who knows this stuff set it up for me. But it's almost certainly worthwhile if you have a viable self-employment to set up an LLC and become a corporate entity. So if you're in that
the
boat,
one I have is the SEP IRA, where you can put it's the either 25% capped at 70 grand a year. Obviously, that's going to be way more than most people would be able to save in a single year, but that is the cap. It's very large, and you can do a regular. I have a regular one in addition to that. So yeah, it's very good tax-wise. The only way we get screwed in being self-employed is we get double tax on Social Security. So we're paying double the tax on a program we'll never get to use. But
Yakko, 1977, more Epstein files released, still no arrest. This is like the movie Groundhog's Day. Yeah, I remember that one. I'm sorry for my 3-star review.
I watched it for the first time like 2 weeks ago, so I'm behind on. It was okay. I mean, it was a good movie. I'm not going to watch it every day.
You're not allowed to say it was okay. You have to love it.
It's okay. It was.
What? How many stars out of 5 would you give it? Or
I think 3 is fair. 3 out of 5.
Take it up with the audience, man. You're going to get wrecked for that.
4 out of 5
to Lord Bill Murray and company.
4.5 out of 5.
Your friendly neighborhood fed. Oh wait, sorry, I didn't finish Yakko. It's like the movie Groundhog Day with the Epstein files released and nobody arrested. The movie is funny, but the situation is not. The people who abused girls need the wood chipper treatment. We're gonna get into the Epstein files stuff in a little bit here. But yeah, I believe the assistant attorney general or whatever his role is, Todd Blanche, he said earlier today they do not expect any additional Epstein prosecutions from the DOJ. So I guess they read those 3 million pages carefully.
Yeah, that's cool. It's had time to do that.
Perfect gentleman. Thanks for the show. He sends me a Reddit link. Do I dare open this?
It's 50-50.
What do we got? I think I could show this. This looks like an AI. So you know Donald Glover's This Is America?
Oh, it sucks. Remember we had to pretend that was like high culture for a year?
Well, nice. Have you seen the Donald Trump AI remix or remake of Donald Trump doing This Is America by Donald Glover? Oh, it's with Maduro. Maduro has a cameo. And JD Vance is there.
Oh, nice.
The whole White House crew. All right, I'm not going to watch the whole minute of this. Well, actually, I might while I say, speaking of NF, the slur combination from Corey, I'm not a huge Donald Glover guy as far as his, more recent work. But back when he did skit comedy under Derek Comedy on YouTube, like mid-2000s,
wait, that
when
was
YouTube
him?
first started. Yes. And
I never put that together.
The spelling bee bit where they have to spell NF.
Yes.
It's one of the best pieces of skit comedy I've ever seen.
I had no idea that was him. That's so funny.
Look up Derek Comedy spelling bee.
I've seen that like in 8th grade or something.
It's one of the greatest pieces of comedy ever produced, as far as I'm concerned. I still quote it to this day. Your word is also...
Yeah.
All right. Purpose of the ages. Matt and I once made love. He once demanded my consent. Sorry, let me get this off the screen. He once demanded my consent now that he knows I am pretty good. Right.
Nice.
Pretty good.
He started destroying my body cameras. Well, all right. I get it. That's very on point with tonight's topics and references. Appreciate that. All right. We are going to stop the chats there.
I'll have to just circle back with you.
And we'll get back into the news. Appreciate our super chatters. We'll come back to you at the end of the stream. But I got to back up because I didn't have as much time to get into the Don Lemon stuff as I wanted to. So we'll get into Epstein in a moment. But there's a couple pieces of Don Lemon or I guess, Minneapolis reaction too. A couple things I want to talk about here in terms of like the newfound love of the First and Second Amendments, the newfound constitutional appreciation on the left, and that starts with I guess why the argument that what happened to Don Lemon or what's going on with his arrest is all a giant assault on the First Amendment. How could we consider ourselves a free country with free speech if any guy can't go into a church and disrupt it whenever he wants? So I'm not pretending that Harvey Levin, is it Levin or Levin, the guy over at TMZ, that he is like our country's foremost constitutional scholar, but what he lacks in constitutional understanding, he makes up for in passion in his argument. So yeah, if Don Lemon can't disrupt a church service, do we even have a free press anymore? Here's Harvey.
So the Trump administration wonders why people are saying that they are trying to form a dictatorship. Well, look at the landscape. Arresting Don Lemon, who covered a protest in Minneapolis, is just insane, ridiculous, dictator-like. This is the playbook that dictators use to destroy democracies and take the will of the people away. It is as simple as that. The First Amendment is the First Amendment for a reason. It is considered the preferred amendment when you have to start balancing what's more important. The framers of the Constitution knew that a free press was essential to a democracy. Without a free press, you don't have a democracy. And it's real clear that Donald Trump and company doesn't want a free press. The idea that a journalist, which Don Lemon has been for 30 years, would walk into a church and film a demonstration which is of national interest, and then to say somehow, when you watch the video, they say he's part of the protest. Watch that video. He is covering the protest. He is covering it. That's what journalists do.
Whatever he's saying about the First Amendment being a preferred amendment is total nonsense.
What?
I mean, the exact what is a not preferred constitutional clause? The First Amendment.
The 19th. Yeah.
Well, that's true. That one is not optimal. There are some maybe not
so great ones, maybe.
Yeah. But in terms of the application of the law, now I will grant the point that maybe in terms of what comes to mind in limiting the government, there is a reason that the First Amendment became the first. But that doesn't mean as a matter of the application of the law that it holds more weight than any other clause of the Constitution. It doesn't. It is simply part of the Constitution. But by the way, even if it is the most important preferred amendment on some sort of higher level, I noticed the First Amendment contains language about protecting religious practice. So we're just going to
ignore that part. Yeah, apparently. Yeah.
I'm not even going to get into his use of the word democracy when he should use the word republic for reasons I think we all understand. But his claims Don Lemon covered the protest. Okay, we've gone through that stuff too. It's not covering to be there with coffee and donuts and all this. The reality is the opposite when he warns about tyranny and maybe not dictatorship is the appropriate term, but tyranny, because if you can't have a church service unless the mob gives you their permission to do it, that is tyranny. That is mob tyranny, maybe not one guy's tyranny, but that is tyranny. You have no right to exercise your religious practice free from the intrusion and interference of these people. There is no freedom in that. That is a state of tyranny. And he goes on a little bit more. There's one piece of his segment here I want to highlight, because he's insisting that this is a free press issue, as though the concept of a free press entitles you to invade other people's property. He mocks the idea and dismisses the idea that churches even are property in that sense.
The idea that the Justice Department is saying he walked onto private property, that is insane. A church invites everybody in. Have you ever seen a church with a no trespassing sign saying no journalists allowed? Have you ever seen any house of worship that says that? It is insane.
Are you fucking stupid?
There's a lot of churches who are like, please document protests disrupting us here. It's funny too, because he's talking about the importance of a free press, and he sees himself as part of that, as if his magazine isn't just documenting like celebrity nip slips of the day. Like you're a joke publication. I don't understand. You're not in the club of whatever you're talking about here.
Hey, Matt, have you ever seen a no trespassing sign at a church before? Who's ever seen such a thing? Hey, here's an example from New York City a couple of years ago. Why did they need a no trespassing sign? Oh, right, because of left-wing degeneracy. Actually, there were too many dead hobos, per Sean's discussion prior. But, okay, I grant his point, or I get his point. Churches are inviting places. They want people to come in. Yeah, who set the rules, though? Are they required under law to invite everyone in, or do they want to be welcoming places voluntarily? I don't even understand what he's talking about when he's saying it's nonsense that they're private property in that sense. Of course they're private property. If I want to go vandalize a church and say, I don't know, what some kind of anti-religious message and spray paint, is that not vandalism because it's not their property? Can I just live at the church? Could I take over the church and make it a different kind of church? No, because I don't own and operate the church. It is not my property. I'm baffled by him dismissing the idea that private property rights do not extend to churches because they're required to let everybody in whenever they want, I guess.
A church can legally trespass you. So the whole argument just kind of collapses based on that alone.
Anyway, I've given enough time to Harvey. Not a constitutional scholar of our era.
Who apparently his name is pops up in the Epstein docs in some capacity. It? Yeah, I'll have to. I wish I had more intel on that, but I believe it did pop up.
This is some related commentary. Chuck Schumer is now a champion of the Second Amendment. So it's not just that we suddenly care about the first. Chuck Schumer is on the Senate floor saying shall not be infringed. So some of Trump and Kash Patel's commentary on the Alex Pretti shooting about Pretti carrying a gun admittedly was not good. Trump said things like, you can't carry guns, you can't bring a gun. Kash Patel said something like, you can't carry a gun at a protest, though he later clarified. Those are not good things, granted. I'm not defending those pieces of commentary, and I think that Trump and Patel and company are wrong about that. However, who actually believes Chuck Schumer wants to stop? What the hell is that? What? Your mic has gone haywire, dude. Yeah, it's just nothing but noise. Like, unplug it and plug it back in. All right. Let's see if we can get this fixed. I don't hear anything off you now.
No, Jesus Christ.
Oh, there we go. There we go.
All right, cool. Sorry, I swore.
I don't even know what that was.
They don't know what the fuck they're doing.
Well, I'll hear it on the playback after.
It was like being bombarded with the worst, like, you know what a TV sounds like when it's got nothing but salt and pepper static?
Yeah, I was just looking up the TMZ Epstein files thing to be,
so maybe
some knowledge, but
so that's what happened. It was
so the internet intervened to stop that from happening.
Yeah.
Anyway,
so I was saying,
go on.
Trump's commentary, Kash Patel's commentary may not have been good, but we're expected to believe that Chuck Schumer is now a devoted Second Amendment defender. So here's Chuck Schumer on the Senate floor this week, standing up for your gun rights.
Instead of holding his own administration accountable for lying about Alex Pretti, Donald Trump continues to blame Alex Pretti for his own death. He said yesterday Pretti should not have been carrying a gun. The president seems to have forgotten the words of the Second Amendment, quote, "The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed." Apparently for Donald Trump, if you're a Trump supporter, it's okay to be a lawful gun owner. But if you're against Donald Trump, it's not. You don't have that right.
Shut up, faggot.
Okay. So take note. The only time Chuck Schumer has ever cared about gun rights is in the context of protecting a criminal's right to arm himself. Never cared about you or your family. I've never heard a Senate speech from Chuck Schumer about defending the gun rights of the law-abiding citizen. Instead, there's a criminal who's out there attacking federal agents, and it's very important that he carries a gun. Up until now, he's wanted you and your family disarmed. Same thing with the First Amendment, okay? Under Biden, these same people, they didn't have concern that there was documented evidence of him pressuring social media companies to delete your post on behalf of their preferred medical narrative. They didn't care about the inventive ways that Joe Biden was cracking down on your gun rights and trying to invent new legal definitions to make sure that you can't have braced pistols or 80% kits or any of the other stuff. So it's only when their preferred guy, is stopped from intruding upon, interrupting a church service, does the First Amendment suddenly become important. Only when a criminal is actively fighting federal agents is the Second Amendment does that become important. It's the inversion of who these amendments are designed to protect is absolutely crazy. We're using the First Amendment to make sure we defend the long cherished right to disrupt First Amendment rights for others. And we are twisting the Second Amendment to make sure that criminals around us are armed. But if the good guy wants to have a gun to defend himself from such criminals, well, we got to take a second look at that.
Yeah, and all the gun rights organizations, like the pro-gun ones, he has an F rating. With all the anti-gun ones, he has a very high score. So by his legislative record, he's pro-gun control. Yeah. And the whole, gun control is not for criminals thing also extends to legislation because, as we all know, the only people who would obey the laws are, people like you and me. But if there are two gang members with illegal firearms that get caught in Chicago, oftentimes they don't get really any punishment for that. And if you really want to reduce gun crime, the only type of, I don't even know if gun control is the right term here, but I guess gun control regulation would be, if you have someone with a violent history that's illegally carrying a gun, yeah, put them in jail, and you're probably going to prevent a lot of murders or shootings down the line. And there was a case with Kim Fox in Chicago where there was two gang members shooting at each other, both criminals with illegal guns, and she refused to press charges on the basis that they were engaged in quote-unquote mutual combat.
I remember that one.
So this is what we're dealing with. Like, they literally only want gun laws for you and me. They do not care about the people who actually are a danger.
And Chuck Schumer's acting like Charlton Heston on the Senate floor. From my cold, dead hands. Yeah, okay, Chuck. Nobody believes you, but good try. Sorry, I gotta get. That's why Kyle Kalinski's face is on here. I got these all ordered in the way I expected them. And of course, Sean and I already went through this stuff. But it's time to get into the Epstein files.
Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein?
Pam Bondi's truckload has now been dumped, or at least a lot of it. There's still supposedly more out there, maybe more to come. But 3 million pages of Epstein files released Friday. Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche said in a press conference that the DOJ has now completed its review of the Epstein files in their possession. This morning, I heard him on ABC with George Stephanopoulos. He said there are still some documents that are being withheld pending a court order to release them, so there might be some more stuff coming up. But as I mentioned, he also said later today there aren't going to be any additional Epstein prosecutions, even though we did get some new information in this giant pile of documents. And of course, I'm not going to pretend like I read them all. Anybody who's claiming that they've read these thoroughly, probably not yet, but yeah, obviously they're worth going through. And some of the highlights that I was looking through today or reading about today. First of all, the Trump DOJ spent 2025 reviewing the material for allegations against or mentions of Trump. So we know that was part of what was going on. We also, I know everything released has just been a bunch of zebra stripes of redaction. Did you see this redaction, Matt?
Wow, you can see so much. Why would you redact the name but then have the photo? Or am I not? Or is it something else?
Well, I think it's redacted? Like personal. So the photo and the names are not necessarily redacted, but maybe there's more personal information under it. Right. Yeah, sorry, it might be hard to see. But what I found, this is must be. I assume this is a file in one of the in the New York prosecution. It's got a New York reference there. But the reason I bring this up is as part of one of these cases, there was an actual map made of Jeffrey Epstein and all his closest associates and employees. This is it's like what's the meme of what's his face with
the guy from It's Always Sunny.
Yeah, where he's got the bulletin board with all the lines connecting. So they made that. Somebody already made that, and they blacked out most of the photos and identities in there. Okay, that's I guess par for the course these days. You know what else we learned is you know who's in the Epstein files? Elon Musk. Remember Elon Musk kind of had that break with Trump and then said,
there's some very funny exchanges in there that I'm sure you're a minute away from.
Well, I didn't read all the exchanges, but Elon Musk said at one point that the reason the Epstein files aren't out is because Trump is named in them. Well, Elon Musk, I guess, is in the Epstein files too. It turns out that he was emailing Jeffrey Epstein personally in 2012, which maybe he had an assistant do this or a secretary. It's kind of crazy to me that Elon Musk, and I know they kind of made up after that, or whatever drugs Elon was doing that week, maybe is the better explanation for what happened here. But it does seem weird to make that accusation knowing that you personally emailed Jeffrey Epstein in 2012 about going to the island. Maybe it was a representative of Elon Musk and it just looks like Elon personally emailed. But yeah, there were multiple emails about potentially multiple trips to the island. Now, I haven't seen any confirmation that the trips happened, and my understanding is that Elon Musk denies going to the island.
Well, I read some of them, and it seems like Epstein is trying to invite Elon, but he's speaking in code, and Elon is so autistic, he didn't pick up on it being something insidious and didn't go along with it. There was actually one email where Jeffrey Epstein writes to Elon Musk, do you think I'm do you think I'm retarded or something like that? It was really funny to read. But no, there's nothing,
with Jeffrey. Oh, man.
I don't think there's anything like that incriminates Elon Musk in there.
No, to be fair, I didn't see anything that is incriminating, but I just found that to be odd given the accusation made against Trump that this guy knows that he had direct communication with Epstein about going to the island. Okay. The co-owner of the New York Giants emailed Epstein for help connecting him to women in 2013. Hey, Jeffrey, that one hot chick I saw you were hanging out with, who's that? Can I get connected with her? I don't know if it worked out for Steve Tisch is this guy's name. There's also this detail about the Clintons who are facing their own contempt of Congress potential issue right now for their refusal to testify about the Epstein stuff. But Epstein pleaded the fifth in a 2016 deposition on every question related to Bill Clinton. This was part of a defamation lawsuit from Virginia Giuffre, the Epstein accuser. There is also the former Israeli Prime Minister Ehud Barak stayed at Epstein's apartment several times, including as recently as 2017, which is way after serious Epstein accusations. Also, his cellmate, whether you believe this or not, Epstein's cellmate, hey, man, please don't kill yourself, man. Please. I love you, bro. I love hanging out with you. Please don't kill yourself. And he couldn't persuade him. His cellmate couldn't persuade his best friend, Jeff, not to do it. And Jeff did it. Now, did you see the accusations against Trump that are in here, or that people are making accusations based on this material?
Well, I saw one that was some woman who was like clearly schizophrenic or had some sort of mental issue.
Yeah, there's a rape allegation that actually is not new, but is kind of resurfaced through this. There's also an Epstein victim who told the FBI that Ghislaine Maxwell presented her to Trump and made it clear that she was available. Now, a couple things about this. Number one, she was apparently 22 at the time. So don't get me wrong, getting like women brought to you through Jeffrey Epstein is an eyebrow raiser. But this is an accusation made in an FBI form. It's called a 302, I believe. And this is not necessarily corroborated by the FBI. As in, they spoke to someone, she told them this, they document it, and it's not as though it's corroborated reality. It's just what somebody said. So decide if you believe it or not. But then there's that 1994 allegation that you were mentioning. Trump was accused by, at the time, an unnamed woman who brought lawsuits, dropped them. She said that Trump raped her when she was 13 in 1994, an encounter that happened in some form through Jeffrey Epstein and associates. Now, the allegation appeared right before the 2016 election, and the woman was supposed to appear at a press conference in LA right before the election, and then she just never did. And according to the Daily Mail, which was reporting on this at the time, so again, the information's not really new, the woman just made up the story. It was could have been electoral politics, could have been just they say she was a drug addict. Yeah. Who knows? But
I'm not sure if it was one of the. My wife was telling me there was one where a woman accused him of raping her on a golf course in a year where that specific golf course didn't even exist yet. So I might be confusing with one of these, but the point being, like, these are all just self-reported things that have been completely unverified.
Yeah, I haven't seen documented evidence, and of course, if something comes out against Trump that is documented, that's important. Talk about it. But as far as what all the craziness on X over the weekend saying that Trump is implicated, I haven't seen the evidence. I've seen allegations, but I have not seen evidence to demonstrate that Trump did anything criminal. But I mentioned at the top of the show the Bill Gates story. You really heard nothing about this?
Well, I mean, I remember years ago his wife indicated the reason they got divorced had to do with his relationship with Epstein. So it was obvious there was something there, but Alec Lace is a good guy. But no, I haven't seen this.
Well, why don't you read what he wrote there? And you can
well, this is a paper for ants, so I can't.
Oh, okay, all right, I'll read it to you.
Sorry.
Breaking. Epstein emails allege Bill Gates caught an STD from Russian girls and begged Epstein for secret antibiotics to dose Melinda without her knowing.
I did see this. Yeah, that's amazing.
Fast forward, Melinda divorced him in 2021, citing his Epstein ties. Yeah. She's now worth $27 billion.
Smart woman.
So yeah, hey Jeffrey, all those Russian whores you hooked me up with, they had STDs, and now I need secret drugs to give my wife to protect her. Now, in fairness to Bill, this is as characterized as far as I understand this document. This looks like Jeffrey Epstein emailing himself what looks to be a letter or an email he intended to send to Bill Gates. So maybe he was saving it for later or whatever happened here. But the letter is addressed, or the email is addressed, Dear Bill. So it's for Bill. We know it's Bill Gates because Melinda is referenced in the email, but it's Jeffrey Epstein writing that, quote, to add insult to the injury, you then implore me, please delete the emails regarding your STD, your request that I provide you antibiotics that you can surreptitiously give to Melinda, and the description of your penis. Also, what is the description of his penis? Did we get that far? You also made it clear that I am not to refer to someone, as that is another topic that must remain between the two of us. So this is as reported by Jeffrey Epstein himself. Bill Gates denies it. In a statement to Business Insider, a spokesperson for Bill Gates says these claims are absolutely absurd. They're completely false. The only thing these documents demonstrate is Epstein's frustration that he did not have an ongoing relationship with Gates and the lengths he would go to entrap and defame. So,
sure.
Now, perhaps there's more in the documents. People are going to be digging through them. But really, for now, especially given the news that the DOJ doesn't plan to bring any new charges, the main questions still remain. To back up, I forgot actually. I buried the lead when I mentioned what's important in these documents. One thing that is important in these documents is we get more out of the federal investigations and at least prosecutions that were initiated against Epstein in the mid-2000s. And there's documents or additional documentation in this release that shows that that federal prosecutors had a case against not just Epstein for what he was doing in Florida, but cases built, indictments ready to go for co-conspirators that were then walked back on, and they gave Jeffrey Epstein that sweetheart deal where he agreed to plead guilty to Florida state charges. The rest is history. You know, he went on to do all the things that he did. So the big question still remains, why was the Justice Department, the federal Justice Department, why did they treat Epstein so leniently when they knew of his abuses dating back to the mid-2000s? And why was he as well connected as he was? Like the joke about so-and-so being in the Epstein files, is Matt P in there? Is Matt C in there? There's a lot of names connected to him. Like people, not just like a document happens to mention person A and happens to mention Jeffrey Epstein, but direct communication between people. What explains all of those connections, and why did the DOJ back off of prospective prosecutions of some of these associates? Which, by the way, as far as I'm aware, we don't know who the associates who were set to be prosecuted are. I don't believe they're revealed in these documents. They're unnamed. They're blacked out. The faces and the names are blacked out.
There was this
in these draft indictments. So that's what to clarify, the DOJ is drafting indictments. They're drafting charging documents, not just against Jeffrey Epstein, but against co-conspirators, people who participated in the crime with him. But those charges were never brought, and we don't know who those people are. So the mystery remains.
Scroll up to the chart one more time.
Yeah.
There was this headline in The Onion decades ago. It was like, FBI realizes they've been using black highlighters this entire time. So maybe that was just one big mistake again. I don't know.
All right. Anything else on Epstein? I got a couple pieces of protest-related derangement for you. Now, the good news is Kathy Griffin hasn't cut off any mock heads or real heads, although there is I guess there's a Kathy Griffin head in the background there, so maybe she still is chopping heads off. But even if she is taking a pause on removing heads, the bad news is Kathy Griffin is trying to whip up a mob to come to your house to find out if that mob should chop your head off. So in commentary about the Minnesota ICE riots, Kathy Griffin says it's time for people to organize groups, Minnesota style, to find out if their neighbors support Trump and then take unexplained action against them if they do support Trump.
I think the murder of Renee Good, the murder of Alex Pretti, putting children on planes and taking them to detention centers, which are really concentration camps. Call it what it is. They're concentration camps in the United States of America in 2026. And I know you don't want to participate in something radical. I don't either. But it is happening all around you. It's happening around you. I live in Los Angeles. It's happening at targeted places in Los Angeles. And I think it's time to talk to the neighbors in real life. It's time to talk to your neighbors, find out if they're MAGA or not. Sorry, but we have to know who's on our team and start to plan. Is there a way we can do something as a community? When I hear from my followers in Minnesota, they describe a very sophisticated channel of a system of things that they do to help one another. And they use encrypted apps. And like I said, everyone has whistles and honks their horn, but they organize in small groups. Live your life, but be conscious of this. And if you're silent, you're complicit. Sorry, I know I'm being a judgy bitch, but that's how I feel.
Well, stack up, Kathy.
Fuck around and find out.
Be careful which doors you knock on.
It just sounds so autistic going door to door and be like, hey, just checking in. Who did you vote for last election, by the way? Like, how do you even segue into that conversation?
Also, if you say silence is being complicit or whatever she says. So if you just don't want to talk about it, that's not good enough. She'll cut your head off too if you just say, get the hell out of here, you crazy lady.
Well, they're going to be doing this in cities where like 10% of people voted for Trump. So there's going to be a lot more false positives than like they're gonna brand like people who did not vote for Trump as Trump supporters simply for not wanting to talk to her or engage.
Yeah,
they're going to ruin lives who had nothing to do with
the
this.
mob demands it. Their appetite to consume must be satisfied. And I'm not even sure what she means in the best of terms. Like, let's say that her lack of clarity in this message, to me, it sounds like you're organizing a mob to go harass people, potentially even commit crimes against them. But let's say that that's a misunderstanding, and she means like we're doing Jehovah's Witness style door knock visits. What is, when you talk about taking action, what is the action? Are you just going to have a very serious sit down conversation? What are you going to do when you identify these Trump supporters? And it's a very important question because the whole premise here is that fascism is bad, that identifying an other and trying to browbeat them or trying to maybe even remove them, that's bad because that's fascistic. But so I need to know what the non-fascistic action that Kathy and company plan to take. And by the way, when she talks about like this mob or this group, does she even have a club, or is she just talking hypothetically for other people? Who's the Kathy Griffin friend club who's going to join her mob? Do they really exist?
Maybe this is like the video to start it all. I don't know who would want to join with her specifically, but she's just giving ideas to the existing Antifa types that are already doing this.
I can't wait for Kathy's benevolent fascism to join in the Minneapolis antics, or wherever she chooses to deploy her mob. But one last note on Minneapolis protest. This is just another moment of nonsense. This is some commentary from a Minneapolis protester on CNN on the streets. And very often when we hear protesters asked to explain themselves at these events, like, hey, why are you here? Like, philosophically, why are you here? What motivates you to be here? What is your message for others that explains your participation? Yeah, we get jumbled, confused, non-answers that are poorly thought out. That's not necessarily new, but I thought this commentary was just funny to me because her premise is that everyone is oppressed. Her commentary is, we are all oppressed, and you need to remember that.
What's your message to the people who are not here in Minneapolis and Minnesota, who haven't experienced what people who have been living here have been experiencing?
Believe what you see, not what you're told, not what you hear. Take the evidence and make your own judgment about it. And know that we are all people and we are all oppressed. And we have to stay together and believe the truth and find it together and stand together.
Okay, thank you. Stay warm, all right?
That's a huge bitch.
Pretty well fed for an oppressed person, I think.
Yeah, Donald Trump is oppressed. They don't think through these slogans at all. Like after October 7th, the slogan was like, "Until Gaza is free, no one is free." And I'm like, so Israel's not free in this example? Like, what are you even talking about? I do like when they say stuff like this though, because like the social justice warrior factions then turn on them for saying that stuff because they have to get into like the oppression off of who actually has it worse. After Renee Good got shot and they were saying, say her name, there were black activists complaining like, no, that's only for black people who get shot. You can't use it for her. So I don't know. It's pretty amusing to see how they cannibalize.
But doesn't that logic kind of follow? That is to say, if all are oppressed, everyone is oppressed,
then
doesn't that kind of mean no one is oppressed?
Well, there's no oppressors then.
Well, yeah, that would necessarily, for people to be oppressed, there must be an oppressor. But if everyone is oppressed, it must mean that some people are both oppressor and oppressed. I need it explained to me. It's a very difficult logical knot. And why do the oppressors, who are also oppressed, why do they allow the oppressed people to protest in this way? I don't understand that either. But
I'm honestly shocked. Only 2 people have gotten shot and killed by ICE so far. Like, given
it's a pretty good record, given
the active
resistance,
hostility, and like just the ratio of interactions to shots, they are the worst Gestapo force that has ever existed. If you were going to call them that.
In fairness, there have been more shootings of targets of arrest, but as far as shootings of protesters, I think it's only the 2.
Well, shootings that have led to kills. I mean, I like when it comes to violence against, or let's just say, okay, ICE and Border Patrol violence against illegals, I think the math would come out where the Antifa types have actually killed more illegals because there was that attempted mass shooting.
Those were all right wing as categorized by the ADL.
Of course they were. But there was that attempted mass shooting on Border Patrol that I guess the guy is a horrible shot, only killed illegal aliens. So
I forgot about that one. He hit the car.
So far, the record is white liberals killing illegals, and then are people of color Gestapo agents killing white liberals. That's the scoreboard.
The biggest mass shooting against illegal immigrants was a left-wing guy with bad aim. I forgot about that. But also when she says, I'm just out here to tell everyone to evaluate the evidence for themselves and arrive at the truth for themselves. I did. Alex Pretti was an agitator. Alex Pretti is responsible for his own death. Also, I evaluated the evidence, and yes, deportations are necessary. Is my view valid? Is that satisfy your call to evaluate the evidence for yourself and come to your own conclusion? Or am I an oppressor? Have I been disqualified from being included in the all who are oppressed under that logic? I don't know, but
yeah.
All right.
I don't think it's supposed to make sense.
Guess not. Are you ready for some hoax hate?
Oh, I am.
All right.
This one was very funny.
The idea that the Justice Department
what the hell's Harvey doing?
Private
Now,
Get out of here,
nobody
Harvey.
saw it happen, but it's totally a product of Trump's America. Hoax hate crime of the week.
Ah, shit, it's backwards. You think they'll notice?
Well, I think Walt Whitman High School in Bethesda, Maryland, outside of D.C., should be renamed Hoax Hate High, because that's all that happens there in recent years. The hoax hate never stops there. And there's just been many examples in recent history. You'll get to some of those in a moment. But the latest one, January 16th, is Islamophobic graffiti. Someone spray painted, let me pull up the photo here, fuck Muslims with two
Nuke
S's.
Palestine.
Fuck mus, two S's, Muslims. And yes, nuke Palestine, and there's a Star of David. So you know it was those meddling Jews once again.
A Jew would have spelled Muslim
Council
correctly.
on American
Probably.
Islamic Relations, or CARE, speaking to me virtually Friday about this Islamophobic graffiti on the side of Walt Whitman High School. There's an expletive towards Muslims, followed by, quote, nuke Palestine with a Star of David symbol.
For students to have to wake up and come to school to the news that their school was defaced with this kind of messaging, hateful messaging, divisive messaging, it just sends a really horrible message.
The school's principal, Gregory Miller, sent this letter to families Friday, saying he is, quote, troubled and disheartened, and that administrators will be reviewing security camera footage and meet with students as appropriate. White paint now temporarily covers the message.
Now, the vandalism is under investigation by the Montgomery County Police Department. At this time, they say they do not have any suspects.
So they have cameras, but no suspects. According to the reporting, police say they have surveillance video showing people running away from the school toward the football field around 2:30 a.m. the night of the graffiti. But no descriptions to offer of who these people are. No, you can't see the video. No, you can't see images of them. There are multiple cash rewards available for help identifying the suspect, but they still cannot identify one of those suspects. And I mentioned there's a history of what are almost certainly hoax hate incidents at this school, Walt Whitman High School in Maryland. They hate Muslims there, but they also hate Jews too. So it evens out. In 2022, there was a similar piece of graffiti that said, Jews are not welcome. So it's very much like that Family Guy bit, like Peter Griffin said, it's both yay Jews,
Yay, Jews!
and boo Jews,
Boo, Jews!
simultaneously at Walt Whitman High School.
They waited almost 4 years to retaliate on that one.
Yes.
Restraint. It was so funny, the woman acting like this was like shaking the students to their core. Every guy who saw that thought it was hilarious.
It's really the spelling. It's the spelling in the Star of David that makes it so funny.
The Star of David it's clearly not drawn by a Jewish person.
What's wrong? Actually, the star looks fairly precise to me. What's wrong with the star?
Really? I don't see
It's got all 6 points. It's fairly symmetrical. I think it's a good job.
To me, it looks more like the sheriff's star, not the two triangles. But it might just be my. It looks small on my end.
It's the spelling I have to question, really.
Yeah. Well, I feel like if you're a Jew who wants to nuke Palestine, you know how to spell Muslim.
Well, that's not all. It's not just the Jews not welcome, boo Jews incident from 2022. It's there was another incident a few months later in 2023. This time it involved the speech and debate team. The Washington Post obtained an email in January 2023 that claimed that 2 students on the speech and debate team joked about using challah, the bread, to lure Jewish people to a secluded island to burn them at the stake.
Boo, Jews! Shit.
So there's another in the boo Jews tally at Walt Whitman High School. And then in 2023, a staff member found a racial slur carved into a locker in the boys' locker room. Now, I don't know if that's the N-word or if that's another yay Jews or boo Jews incident. But the total number of arrests for these cases, 0. They never got any of the perps in any of these cases. However, in fairness, they did get 3 of them in 2023 case. When is that? Or 2020 case, rather, where... Again, a totally separate incident where there was graffiti that depicted a noose and a racial slur on a shed near the tennis courts at Walt Whitman High School. And they got 3 of the guys who did it, 2 17-year-olds and an 18-year-old. Now, one of the 17-year-olds is the one who actually did the graffiti. The other 2 were charged with conspiracy to commit the vandalism. But because they're minors, we don't get names on who they are. Now, were they actually racist whites, or is the Ann Coulter rule in effect here?
Probably that one. We could be wrong here, too. This could be the most racist school in all of America. Just, there has to be one. So.
It seems highly entertaining to go there.
Yeah,
Anyway.
Got
some updates on of course, the bananas and rice girl, who famously offered this piece of wisdom last week.
To me, being Somali isn't just eating bananas with rice. It's a lie.
The Somali lady in Minneapolis who said that at a press conference, she said that ICE had kidnapped her and called her the N-word after they had racially profiled her. And then this week she got arrested for assaulting federal agents. And some of the reporting that I saw prior about her, I think we talked about this last weekend, Matt. They said there was video of the altercation, and I hadn't seen video of the altercation. Yes. But friend of the show, Neo and Realist, thanks to him for sending that video to me. In the video, we can see that Bananas and Rice Girl is not thrown to the ground as she claimed. She was not taken from her home, as she said, or from a pharmacy, as she told in a different version of the story later. She got into a fight with agents in an apartment parking lot, and then she clearly spit at them, Alex Pretti style.
I'm 23 years
Spit
old
right away here.
From St. Paul.
There you see it.
And I encountered ICE. I was detained, or let me rephrase it as I was kidnapped by ICE. I was kidnapped from ICE from my home. They came here, right there where I'm pointing at, and they came here, were following 2 men, and while they were following 2 men, they came and stopped at this exact area near the office.
So according to the complaint, agents were conducting an operation. Nasra Ahmed is her name, Bananas and Rice Girl. She approached, she was swearing at them, she threw eggs at them, she resisted arrest for the egg throwing, then she spat at them, as we saw in the video there. And so she was just arrested for assault. Everybody already knew that, but the whole thing was clearly a GoFundMe grift. But it didn't really work out too well. She wanted $20,000 for her troubles. She only got $3,500. Now, I do think, Matt, that you could probably afford a year's worth of bananas and rice with $3,500.
Man, I was going to make that joke.
Oh, yeah. There's got to be another one.
Great minds.
Oh, all right. Yeah. She's going to have legal defense costs, though, so I don't know how much bananas and rice money is going to be left over. But I had not seen the video of her actually physically involved with the agents until now. Even it's been out for a week and change, so I appreciate Neo and Realist for sending that to me. But anything bananas and rice related you want to discuss before I give you one more here?
No, but I did like how they overlaid her audio over the video just to expose how absurd the lie was, too.
Yeah.
Anyway.
In other Somali scams, of course, I'm sure you weren't on the Wednesday stream where we talked about it, but
no,
I'm sure
I
you
saw you guys
saw.
talking about it.
Yeah, so you're familiar with the Ilhan Omar town hall attack this week, in which a guy who loved Trump and is very racist interrupted her the second she called for the impeachment of Kristi Noem to spray her with a completely harmless and Islamic law-friendly substance known as apple cider vinegar. And Ilhan Omar was so brave that she shook her fist in defiance, and she gave the rest of her speech, and she hugged people with the mystery liquid on her, and she never even undressed to get the mystery liquid off of her, and she never went to the hospital. And it was all very real, and that guy is being prosecuted on very real charges because he's a very real racist, even though there are literal pictures of him with Ilhan Omar, and his wife is a Democrat operative, and he has gender-confused pronoun children, and all the nonsense. But it's Everything we saw there is totally real and not a production of Somali TV. So the reason I bring this up again is because there's one detail of it that I hadn't seen. This happened Tuesday night, and immediately when it happened Tuesday night, fellow Congresswoman Nancy Mace posted the video and tweeted in defense of her colleague, "I am deeply disturbed to learn that Rep. Ilhan Omar was attacked at a town hall today. Regardless of how vehemently I disagree with her rhetoric, and I do, no elected official should face physical attacks. This is not who we are."
We're not paid actors. It really happened.
The reason I'm highlighting this commentary is to remind us all that hoax hate, the discipline, the practice, the art, it is not a uniquely left-wing phenomenon. Nancy Mace herself is very accomplished in the field of cringe hoax hate.
Oh, so yeah, it was the most feminine handwriting I'd ever seen in a vandalism.
That's part of it.
Okay, yeah, just to jog anyone's memory.
I wanted to revisit it because I was like, I remember Nancy Mace's hoax hate from back in the day. Hey, did anything ever come of that? Did anybody ever get arrested? Did we ever get resolution on that? Well, as far as I can tell, not. But back in June 2021, Nancy Mace was a freshman congresswoman who said that her house had been vandalized by Antifa members, and she posted this video as evidence.
Woke up this morning to my house being vandalized last night. You can see they spray painted in black past the PRO Act on the front of my house. That's
very specific.
My bike that one of the kids was
Antifa
using
loves
last
legislation.
Night, shortly before the house got vandalized. It's very scary. They also spray painted "No gods, no masters, all politicians are bastards" with Antifa markings on it, and you can see right in front of my house, on the sidewalks and the street. Out here you can see where they spray painted "Fuck you, Nancy," and then they've got Antifa symbols down with some of the other.
Look at those massive jugs.
It's the same handwriting on every single message, meaning it's one person did all of it.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, the handwriting isn't just feminine; it appears to match Nancy Mace's handwriting very closely. And you might think, well, how closely does your handwriting match like spray paint? But there are specific things about the way she dots I's. Like she dots I's with a little like caret, like an arrow, like odd things. And her A's are very uniquely shaped. And that was also present in the graffiti. So again, we never got any resolution on this. There was never any arrest. Nancy Mace fundraised on this. And there was no justice, and she never seemed to care again. It's just a reminder that game recognizes game. And I know, like, we're supposed to think that Nancy Mace is standing on the principle that it's wrong to intimidate and attack politicians. No, she's like, hey, I appreciate the effort put into this production. I got to defend its validity so that people believe it. Nancy Mace, she's making sure that she can fundraise again when the time comes.
I remember too, I believe when you reported on this initially, wasn't there a photo on her Instagram where she was in her kitchen cooking and you could see a black spray paint in the background?
I don't know if she got caught by that. Maybe. I mean, it's a classic hoax hate thing where people then take photos where the spray paint can is visible later.
It looked, if I'm recalling correctly, it looked like it could have been one, but it wasn't like, beyond a reasonable doubt. But no, she's a huge attention seeker. When they were getting ousting Kevin McCarthy, she only changed her vote over to oust him when she realized she could have been that deciding vote and then get all the media attention and coverage, etc. Her staff turnover is extremely high, and I've seen posts from people who used to work for her who said she's impossible to work with. She would set daily quotas for how many media appearances she would need that were completely like absurdly high just to get attention. So she is a narcissist, and it's game recognized game, as you say.
In her fundraising email back then, Antifa vandals went after my home this weekend. This is unacceptable, all caps. And yet it was accepted. Why was it accepted? Police accepted it. Prosecutors accepted it. Nancy Mace accepted it. Nancy Mace raised money on it. Never talked about it again. Seems to have accepted it. But the other thing what do you think explains the bizarre pro-act component? Because I fully believe this was a Nancy Mace inflicted hoax, self-inflicted hoax. But the pro-act, as we were laughing about during the clip, it's a very weird, specific thing for Antifa vandals to say, I'm an anarchist, but I'm in favor of this specific piece of legislation.
They're all bastards, but please do vote this one way, this one time.
The PRO Act was proposed legislation to help union organizing or make union organizing easier. I forget exactly what it was. But even if I operate in the premise that Nancy Mace did this hoax herself, what's the PRO Act thing about? Was she trying to stop the PRO Act? Was there? I don't understand why you would drop that specific thing in there.
Women.
Okay. Simple as that.
That's all I got.
All right. Fair enough. Difficult to understand.
The thing with the Ilhan Omar though one is, what does this guy gain if he, because he has been charged? So like, what that angle is the only one I don't get.
My theory of the case. So this guy we know is a felon, and we know that he's a drunk with a lot of financial problems, according to bankruptcy court records. We know that he's been sued for a lot of debts that he has. So my theory of the case is that he is going to be hit with some sort of low-level charge that won't matter to a guy who's already a felon in exchange for payment, money. Like we'll clear your debts if you agree to participate in this show and, yes, have another criminal charge tacked on to your criminal record that's already more serious than this. But we need you to be part of the show, and you have debt collectors hunting you down. So why don't we help each other out a little bit here? That's my theory of the case.
Yeah.
You think that's plausible?
The thing that was the most suspicious to me, I mean, before knowing his background, was just how she immediately reacted defiantly. Whereas
the fist.
Yeah, like listen,
you're lucky I don't punch you. Yeah.
You don't know what you just got sprayed with. So like that would be my number one concern, is getting my shirt off maybe, or I don't know, just reacting in a panic to that. And it was just weird that he was able to get that close without any intervention whatsoever. She has terrible security if not.
Yeah, well, they intervened quickly after it happened, but how is someone able to approach the podium that aggressively?
Right.
Anyway.
We should try it. No, not really. But,
I don't. I'll probably get Alex Prettied if I try that, so I'm not going to do that. All right, let's hop into Super Chat. We'll call it a night. Okay. This comment, Purpose of the Ages, says Matt has a demon. Exercise him now. It sounded like that, man.
That guy gave $20. It was a very good viewer.
Appreciate it, Purpose of the Ages. If I need any exorcism tips, I will send you an email, because all I could do was hit the mute button. I had no solution for that.
I don't know what happened.
Chicken Fried Monkey finally caught alive. Love you, Matt and AJW. Well, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for
there was only one Matt mentioned in that comment.
I know. I assume it was me, but I don't know. She might be a new fan of yours.
Yeah, we'll never know.
Yeah. Anyway, I know she's a longtime listener, so appreciate you tuning in.
Now looking good for me.
Yeah. The Spastic one. I've been here since your name was Skag3, and I love it. I miss Blonde, although I know some bad shit happened. But the Matt and Matt show is the best. Well, I appreciate you.
I'm almost blonde.
You're very special.
It's lighter than, well, I don't know. I guess my old hair that I used to have was actually, about that tone. I don't know. But yeah, no, I appreciate you sticking around for as long as you have and giving different versions of my production a chance. I really appreciate that. So thanks for keeping the operation running. And especially if you've been around since the Skag 3 days. That's like a decade at this point, man. Esoterica Unbound. Why would Elon want to go to Epstein Island? He almost certainly had his hollowed out volcano by then. No telling what he gets to up there. Now, I don't know. Is that a joke, or does Elon actually have a hollowed out volcano? I don't know.
Not that I know of, but yeah, he has no problem with women at all. Any crazy broad he can pretty much lock down. So
maybe the email is not what it appears to be. I don't know. For Elon to say what he was saying earlier, that the documents are not coming out because Trump is in them, you would only say that if you're totally confident that you're not in them. And yet, there's the email. So what explains that? As far as I'm aware, I don't think he's... I guess maybe I should follow up on his X account. Actually, will you look quickly at
maybe
Elon's
it was like a huge bluff 3D chess thing where it's like, well, they'll never suspect me now.
Will you do a quick browse on Elon's X account, just see if he's talked about that in the last day or two?
Yeah.
I'm just curious if he has a response. Producer Tim, Fun fact, both freedom to exercise religion and freedom of speech are listed before freedom of the press in the First Amendment. Oh, yeah. They are the preferred clauses of the First Amendment for Harvey at TMZ. The press, I keep getting a weird popping. Is that coming off you?
I just heard it too.
So you're hearing it too. What's that?
Yeah.
About? Sorry, I'm going to, well, for people who hear that, I'll have to diagnose that later. I'm not sure what exactly is causing that, but you know, the duct tape rolls on as always.
Duct tape all over the place. It's a disgrace.
Anyway, the press is not the only thing it covers. By the way, a church welcoming everyone doesn't negate their right to also kick people out. Yeah, that's like churches are inviting voluntarily, not because they have no legal right to remove people from their property.
So I found one. Sorry, this is off topic, but it's related to the Elon.
Yeah.
So Matt Iglesias posted emails with Elon and Epstein, and I guess Elon was asking if he could bring his wife to Epstein Island. So user at I like Tesla's writes, well, if he wanted to bring his wife, he obviously didn't know what was going on, you retard. To which Elon replies, exactly.
Okay, so
that's the defense.
And this is 20. There it goes again. What the? You heard that?
I heard that as well. Yeah.
What the? All right. 2012 is the time in which that email happened. So maybe that's the case. Like it was a different time with a different understanding.
Oh my God, it's a joke, like an evil volcano lair. Jeez.
I know, but that's I get the premise that like all the evil people meet down in their volcano, in the hollowed out volcano. But that's the thing is Elon is so rich and has so many crazy
he
things
actually could have one,
that I could believe. I get the premise. Don't get me wrong. It's not that one's not actually over my head. I did understand what you're saying. It's just
I did too.
He has so many crazy things. I thought that's plausibly real.
Yeah. I mean, he's going to build homes on Mars, so volcanic lair is not out of the realm of imagination here.
Tim also says, I have a really good idea for Kathy to potentially use. This is Kathy Griffin. Go get some gold cardboard, cut it into the shape of stars, and put it on people who are supporters of Trump or ICE, because that would be a great way to stop people acting like Nazis. That's true. We do need a public identifier, a public signifier. Yeah. If you're a Trump supporter, you have to wear
a star.
This so we can tell. Yeah. Forced.
It's so funny though, because Trump supporters, at least the 2024 election, not 2026. They're not really hidden from identifying themselves. Like after Trump got shot, I started seeing Trump stickers everywhere. So it's not like we're necessarily in hiding like they think. Yeah. Maybe in a blue city, but not where I live.
Yeah. Esoterica Unbound, listening to the sound bites of the anti-ICE Karens makes me wonder what the political impact would be of banning SSRIs. Well, the number one political impact would be an immediate reduction in mass shootings, so we could look forward to that. But as far as the impact on women, I wonder what's more has a bigger impact on the state, the political state of American women right now. Is it prescription drugs like you're talking about? Or is it the general propagandizing away from family, as in women are getting married later, they're not having children as young or sometimes at all. And of course, when you remove women from their superpower, the amazing thing they can do, create new life, and you tell them, no, you need to go pursue some other purpose that doesn't matter until they're 40 years old and they realize they were lied to their whole life and they wasted their time and they don't have that family and they go crazy. I guess what I'm asking is, and they're not mutually exclusive, it could be both, like the drugs and the lack of purpose due to the propaganda. Which one of those is a bigger explanatory variable in the state of the American woman right now? The absolute insanity.
I think the latter. I think the latter is what is creating the demand for the drugs, and I think the SSRIs. I think they really just don't work. Is my take on them, and I do think that people kind of get the causality reversed when they say like most mass shooters were on SSRIs. Well, if you're effed up in the head enough that you're going to go do that, you're probably on some sort of drugs because you are effed up in the head. It's not necessarily causal, but it's obviously it's not. It's obviously not solving the problems. Like I just think it's a scam. It's a scam industry at the minimum. But
my only thinking would be gut level, and I don't have medical scientific data to support it. But I would, if I were betting gut level that there's overprescription of such things for people who genuinely don't need it, that I would very confidently bet that. In the same way, there is overprescription of Ritalin and other things for little boys. I'm kind of entering that little boy energy phase of my oldest son, where he's 4, and you realize, no, he cannot go to school and sit for 8 hours a day. Not that we're planning to do that anytime soon, but that's not in his nature, man. He's off the walls insane. And if you could just capture that little boy energy and make it like an energy drink or something, the world would be such a productive place. But we've done that to a generation of boys too. Oh, that boy is hyperactive. We need to put him on put him on a bunch of ridiculous drugs. I'm sure the SSRI stuff is something like that. Oh, this person has they're a little bit unhappy about something, or they have this one little odd thing about their personality. Better pump them full of drugs. Yeah. And then you get the results that you do.
The thing is, a lot of people are depressed because they're in situations that should make you depressed. And if SSRIs did work, they would just make you be content with mediocrity. So, I don't know, the percentage of people that are depressed that I think naturally have some brain miswiring or something is very low compared to those who, should pursue self-improvement.
You're saying people who are kind of environmentally depressed versus chemically depressed, if such a thing. I'm not saying it doesn't exist. I'm saying that I think the idea of chemical imbalance causing depression is probably overstated.
Yeah. Matt Walsh did a good video breaking down the most recent science on it, and it basically concluded that it's kind of BS.
The entire idea of chemical imbalance stuff?
Yeah. Yeah,
okay.
I mean, I think the problem with a lot of medical headlines is there's study proves X seems to change every 5 minutes, but that was the latest he was reading. Yeah.
Well, drugs should be a last resort, and you should fix environmental factors or things about yourself first. And it seems like a lot of the medical wisdom is the opposite. Oh, a slight problem? Have a drug.
Yeah.
Okay. It's not helping things, but okay. Let's see. Tim also says, yet another talking point that annoys me. Even if you have a right to bear arms, that doesn't mean you have certain that doesn't mean you don't have certain responsibilities, or you shouldn't think about how you act while bearing arms. Hell, this is true of any right. Chuck's a moron. Well, yeah, of course. When you carry a gun, there are a lot of responsibilities that go along with that, because it is inherently a dangerous piece of equipment. Now, that's not me saying that you shouldn't or it's bad. No, it's a tool that has proper application, but it is dangerous. It comes with responsibility. And if you are committing crimes with a gun on you, as Alex Pretti was, not only is that legally a problem, but you're just a dumbass. You just go start fighting people with weapons on you and see what happens. See how long you survive. Even if you win a few fights, death or bad things are coming for you if you are attacking other people while armed. You're not going to last long. That's not a legal thing. That's not even really a philosophical thing. It's just a truth about the world. Attack people with weapons, you're going to die. It's just a matter of time. Mm-hmm. It's going to catch up to you. So good luck. Or bad luck, because I wish you'd stop attacking people while you're carrying a gun.
There's going to be another one this week, too.
Well, I know. It's probably be ice shooting of the week at this pace.
Yeah.
But, yeah. VV, when I saw this attack, it was so outlandishly comical and perfect political timing. I'm in disbelief that anyone believes this shit. I assume the Ilhan Omar one. Yeah, and what I find... We were talking about on Wednesday. We live in such different worlds where everybody, anybody who I think is not even right-wing, just remotely sensible, looks at the Ilhan Omar thing and thinks, if they're not calling it a hoax, they at least have questions about the plausibility of it. On the other side, I'm seeing left-wing memes about how the Trump assassination was actually fake. That's the staged thing. Even though a guy's dead.
Yeah.
That's fake. Or
he was
Trump
really
wanted him
committed to
dead.
the bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then what's their theory for why the shooter did it? They're like, all right, so we need you to clip Donald Trump's ear. In exchange for that, you get killed. Can you pull that? Can you pull that
blow
off
your
for us?
head off for almost
we murder you. Yeah. All right. Sound good?
Anyway, speaking of SSRIs, do we know? We don't know much about crooks, but was that a factor in that?
Probably.
Esoterica Unbound. If someone wants to nuke Palestine, wouldn't they have to believe Palestine is an actual place other than what is now called? That's true.
That is a good point. Yeah. They wouldn't call it that.
That's a potential flaw in the logic there. All right. Over on Rumble. Chicken Fried Monkey. My first Rumble rant. Don Lemon sucks. lemons and stuff. He does well. He sucks lemons, and he probably does suck other
among
things
other
too.
things.
I think Nicki Minaj had some commentary about what
I saw
lemon
that.
sucks.
Yeah.
Started with a C. I can't remember what word it was. Something like that. GR. Hey, my Chattanoogas, great show tonight. You need to dump commentator number 6 because he's dragging the show down. Sorry, I haven't ranted in a while. Is that how this is all going to end? I'm going to get fired from my own show.
Are you commentator number 6?
Yeah.
Oh, thank God. I was worried that was me.
Oh, you thought your commentator 6 originates from the Tenet indictment. I was not named because I was never charged, but there are 6 other commentators. They're all commentator 1 through 5, and I'm commentator number 6 because, as Harvey says, they're their preferred commentators. I was the last on the list. Yeah, the hell with that. But yeah,
it's very dehumanizing of them.
That's where it originates, commentator number 6. Okay, I think we are all set. Give a quick refresh over on YouTube here, and we'll be good to go. But anything else you want to discuss before we're out of here?
Well, I know you don't do self-promotion, so I'll just put it out there. If you like this episode, smash that like button and subscribe.
Thanks
for your boy Matt and Matt.
That's only for Matt P. You don't subscribe for me. You subscribe for Matt P. Because I'm going to get
no
fired.
One's doing that.
I'm going to get fired from this channel very shortly. But at least if the chat is correct. All right.
Oh,
I think we're all set.
One last thing. I know we show my books on here. I don't actually care about writing for money. I don't write them for money, really. It's just to kind of compile my research. So if anyone that watches the show does want to read anything I write, and obviously have it be for free, you can just write to me on Twitter, and I'll send you a PDF of whatever book of mine you want to read. So
Who gives a crap? I don't care.
Millions will reach out, Matt. Millions.
That actually is very kind of you. That's very cool. And Matt does really good work. I know that's kind of a bit that you're not even supposed to read the book. You're just supposed to go review it on
leave
Amazon.
a 5-star on Amazon. Do that anyway, even if you don't ask me for one.
You know, the I'm not saying there are preferred pieces of Matt's work. Because I would never say that, they're like all the amendments. They're all equally important in different ways. However, the book that you did several years ago, Debunk This, that is kind of a breakdown of all the left-wing lies and why they're wrong. Now, I know that book came out, maybe
2018 or 19?
Okay, so it's a little bit dated in some of the specific information, but as far as the premise and the principles, all that stuff holds. If you want... It's actually a really good resource when you hear a bullshit thing they always say this about that, but how are they actually arriving at that conclusion?
There, yeah.
That's a really good breakdown of all of those common talking points and why they're wrong. Everything from crime to gun control to it seems like you talked about pretty much every premise in that book.
I try to do a good cross. Then I had a sequel sort of called Fact Checking the Fact Checkers, where it's 300 pages of me just explaining how they are able to twist data and ignore stuff, and just how the fact-checking industry is just kind of a rubber stamp for liberal BS.
Yeah, I really appreciate that kind of work because I have the same experience where it's you hear someone say something and gut level, I know that's bullshit, but I still want to know how and why it's bullshit. And those are really good deep dives into those concepts. So
and then to not to overplug, I'm plugging something that's free, but I have 2 books in the Soros family, one on George Soros, one on Alex the son, that are, as Matt has pointed out, very highly regarded.
They'd be more highly regarded if people would review them on Amazon.
And 5-star only. Yeah.
But all right, that's enough shilling for one show. You get one time per show.
Shilling for $0, Matt. It's ethical.
All right, we're going to call it there.
Right.
Appreciate everybody tuning in tonight. Thanks to our live chatters and super chatters for making the live show a success. If you're listening on demand later, thank you kindly as well for supporting the show. Thanks to our guest, Sean Fitzgerald. Find his YouTube and X links in the description. Thanks to Matt Palumbo. Find his X account, his new book on Alex Soros, The Air, linked in the description as well. Thanks to producer Tim for his assistance. Find everything show-related at mattchristiansenmedia.com or mattis.gay if you prefer brevity. It's a real website. You can even visit it at work. It's like dicks.com. Doesn't sound like it, but it's perfectly safe. I'm live on Wednesday and Sunday nights. Have a great night and a great week until then.